Day long. Happy Wednesday. Travis is back. Sweet T-Raj, from his day off yesterday for his son Michael's baseball game or whatever came up. And Sweet's feeling good. We're all feeling good after the Lakers slip by the Jazz last night.
The clock expires, and the Lakers win it in overtime. 135-133. What a fortunate moment we find ourselves in. The Lakers have won 4 in a row on the road.
It is a playoff destiny Wednesday. What does that mean? Tonight at Crypto.com, the battle against Little Brother. And no matter what John Ireland or anybody else will tell you, tonight is a must-win to beat down Little Brother and control our playoff destiny. 3 games left in the regular season. The Lakers sit at the 7. They want to move up, yo. The 6, the 5, who knows? We're all over it. Do not touch the button, yo. Not today. Keep coming back all day long. Especially with Travis and Sliwa, which begins for your Wednesday right now.
Yeah! Always nice to get the support. Appreciate that a great deal, Chris. Thank you so much for that. How you feeling, Slee?
What's that?
Oh, look at that. Look at that.
Not a big deal. Don't make a big deal about it.
I can't read it for me.
Yeah.
Madness matchup, Islands, Fine Burgers and Drinks,
Yeah.
ESPNLA. It's official. You've won the title.
I got 4th.
That you should wear it around. You should pull up your jeans with that.
I'm going to walk into crypto tonight with this around my waist, and they're going to say, sure, you can't bring that in. I'm going to say, actually, I can.
Who
I'm
did
a
you beat
Papa
in the
Shot
final?
champion. So I beat Cap,
Okay.
but I still don't know the score.
Hey, well, who cares? 1-0.
So-
It doesn't matter. You won. That's all that it takes.
Listen, I know in the past I've told you I'm a career 42% three-point shooter
Yeah.
on the right corner.
Uh-huh.
And I said from NBA 3, and you said no chance.
I still stand by
Are
that.
you winning more games because of the Papa Shot championship?
You're the best Papa Shot player here, and quite frankly, it's not close. You took me out in the semifinals, and I thought I did really well. Like, for me, I don't know what I had, like 24, 25. I'm like, that's pretty good for me. I'm not a great Papa Shot guy, and you dusted me. So congratulations.
I didn't play well.
You're on a little bit of a heater, Slee. You got your San Diego State guys into the national championship game.
Yeah.
You've got the Pickleball Award for Best 7-10 team.
That's right. That's right.
You've got the
Forgot about
Papa
that
Shot
award.
madness right here. You're kind of on a little bit of a roll.
And
Keep
zero
it away from
Mandy's.
Ireland.
And zero Mandy's.
Zero Mandy's. What'd you say, Em?
Said keep that belt away from Ireland.
Yeah, well, that I don't think is heavy enough to put a hole in the wall. I think that will be our
Be an
all right.
injury. He's going to throw it towards the TV. Why is the screen cracked? Well, John got a little angry.
Alan got another award, and John didn't like it, so he started throwing things around the studio.
Good to have you back, buddy.
It's nice to be back.
Yeah.
It's nice to be back. It's weird. I mean, you've gotten to know my schedule pretty well. I don't have a lot of like midweek things that I go take days off for.
That's like
but
my
yesterday,
signature.
Yeah, you're the Al's not here on a Tuesday. Yeah, okay. Like, we just keep it moving. We really don't even think too much
Secret
about
agent.
it. Right. But for me, a random Tuesday is a little bit unusual. It's very nice to be back. I'm sure you told the story yesterday. You look good to me. You went from Monday night, sorry, by the way, didn't go your way, still a great run,
Yeah.
to up all night, fly all morning,
Yeah.
host a radio show. Did you get a little bit of sleep before the Lakers started?
No, I'm not good at naps, man. I'm not good at naps. So I did not get any sleep, and then next thing I know,
OT.
the game goes to overtime. Is that not unbelievable?
Perfect.
Is that not unbelievable? But it actually, I guess once you get going, right? Like it's if you put your head down, I don't know how you guys are. If you are just moving the entire time, you almost kind of forget that, oh, I got this much sleep, I got that much sleep, whatever it is. By the time the game ended, I was good to go. So it was like, all right, let me get my shut eye and go from there. They got another one tonight, got the Clippers tonight. So, but no, I feel good. I feel good.
So take me through what it was like in the championship game.
Yeah.
The Aztecs kind of did what they did in the opening. They got off to a really nice start. They had a long stretch where they couldn't get the ball in the basket.
Yep.
Made a little bit of run at them in the second half.
Got
They
it
get
to within five with 6
right?
minutes to go.
5, but it never really felt like,
I agree.
okay, here they come.
I agree.
It just, you knew that UConn was going to hit some shots. Has the bummer of it all worn off for you? Has the euphoria of we were in the championship game kind of settled back in?
I'm going to tell you exactly, and it hit me yesterday. It was after the show. I think I had just finished pre or something like that.
You got a pretty spiffy hat on today.
Okay, so it finally came in, right? So this is...
They should make that Final Four logo bigger.
It's huge. It is huge. It's kind of funny. Listen.
Surprised your neck isn't sore. It's like
You're
tipping over
watching
to the
on
side.
YouTube.
It's pretty big.
Big.
It's big.
But I think
The one
that's
that
how
I
they
had in
all are, at
2019
least
isn't
for
as
this
bad.
brand. Anyway, so long story short, I'm going to get a bigger one. I'm going to get it like this. Just right on top of my head. It did sink in, and it sunk in yesterday. And you know what sunk in, Trav? I'm going to be as genuine as possible. I'm so proud of them.
Yeah, of
Like,
course.
I am so proud of how far they got and how, coming into the tournament. Listen, if they played 10 times against Connecticut, they might win one or twice. Okay, that's how I would look at it.
I'd
Maybe
give them 3.
Okay,
I'd give them 3.
Let's say that. But let's just say it was 2 times. What you were hoping for was, can that one of that
Sure.
5, can you get it in this one? Can it happen then? And you would need a lot of things to go your way. You're going to have to be hitting shots. They're going to have to be a little bit tight. Maybe they're having a bad night. It's going to take that, I thought, to beat Connecticut. And it was very disappointing on Monday because you just were like, can I steal a championship real quick and run back to San Diego? And just and nobody saw it. But as the dust settles, what an incredible run.
Of course.
What an incredible run that I was reading some stuff. They're the first mid-major to make it outside the finals in I don't know how many years. They're the first California team, I want to say, in the last 17 years to make it to a championship. I don't know the last time the Pac-12 has actually got into the finals. They've been to the Final Four, done that.
UCLA.
They accomplished some great things over this run that is very well representative for Southern California, even the whole West region. I'm very proud of them. Let's put it that way.
I'm more proud of you that you've been able to kind of just bounce back and be here, and you got in here. Were you hungover at all? Were you just exhausted?
Hungover, no.
Just exhausted?
Saturday was the day. Like, Saturday was once I didn't have any work on Saturday.
Okay.
I'm at that pre-party thing
Yeah.
where, I mentioned to you, it's all you could drink. It's the first time you're at the Final Four. You knew you had 2 games. They ended up winning on a buzzer beater. So Saturday was like the all-in day. Monday was a little bit more kind of worky. Like, we did our show.
Yeah.
And then even my buddies, it was like, yeah, let's have a beer. It wasn't, let's go get
Monday.
It's Monday.
Yeah,
Now, if they'd have won.
Tearing it up on a Monday afternoon, even if you're going to a basketball game, feels oddly weird, right? It just you get into these routines. I picked up Kelly at the airport yesterday morning. She stayed for the championship game as well, and so I picked her up yesterday morning. And we don't live super far from John Wayne Airport, so it's only like a 20-minute drive or so. And she was fine, and she was, kind of tell me about what it is. And she had the same thing. She had her Uber pick her up at whatever, 3:45 in the morning and take her to the airport. So she and Kel is a chatterbox, right? Like, usually she sits down in the car and she just monologues until we get to wherever it is that we're going. That's her deal. We go through the front door, and she sits on the couch. I go upstairs to change my clothes to get ready to go down to San Diego. I come back down 10 minutes later.
Sleep.
Not only asleep, like mouth hanging open, snoring, just wiped out, like she hadn't slept in a month, just absolutely dead to the world. And I kind of say, "Hey, I'm leaving. I'll see you in a few days." Like nothing.
Nothing.
She got to the point where, hand on the shoulder, give her a good, just right back out
There's a
again.
guy next to me in Spirit Airlines.
I thought that might have
Guys
been you
passed
yesterday
the hell
after the
out.
show. Just like, all right, dude, Mason and Ireland next. Just
Al, you got to move.
absolutely
Mace has
done.
to come take his seat.
Yeah.
Ready to
They just
sleep in
wheel
that-
you out. They don't need the chair. There's plenty of chairs in here. They could just wheel you around the corner and ready to go. So I'm glad you're back. I'm glad you had a great run. And the further you get away from it, the more awesome it's going to be.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like-
and got to be honest with you, it didn't take very long for me to, just appreciate what they just
Yeah.
accomplished. You know what I mean? I think there's definitely disappointment on Monday, but I'm not kidding. By the time yesterday rolled around, I'm like, what the hell just happened? That was incredible. Was I really at that game on Saturday? Did they really hit a Final Four shot at the
You got
buzzer to get to
see
the national
one of the
championship?
Great Final Four games of
I mean,
all time, too.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, that was
It's a pretty good deal. We got Ask Mace coming up at 10:45 today. So we're back to was Mace our first guest picker, so to speak? The
Could
first
have
person
been.
to come in. Maybe it's Berg, but Mace is the first one that's making a repeat appearance, I
Well,
think.
Travis,
right?
you should ask him why he's stealing all our bits, all of our lane about food.
Yeah, I heard a little bit about that. I heard that they're trying to get on our corner, our food corner.
Right, exactly.
Well, basically, if John said, "Hey, I had a really good breakfast," Emily would send an email to Amanda saying, "Hey, they can't
Good
do
for
that.
you, Emily.
They're not allowed
we
to do
gotta
that."
stake out our
territory.
position. Exactly.
Absolutely. That's our deal.
If Mace would have said, "Man, I was driving by this restaurant earlier today. I really want to try it,"
Get him, Em.
Em would have attacked. She would have attacked.
Gotta
Good for you.
protect our territory.
I
Gotta
like
protect our IP, I guess I would
That's
want
right.
to say.
I like you doing that. So all of a sudden, the Laker thing keeps getting more and more and more interesting. They blew a big lead late. They go into overtime. LeBron was really good in overtime. They win the game. LeBron was saying, the 5 extra minutes wasn't great. It's the second of a back-to-back. It is the Clippers, a team you haven't beaten, 10 tries?
10 games.
10 in a row. It's seeding. Can you get out of the play-in? Can you get into the regular part? It's a crosstown, opponent. I refuse to call it a rivalry because it's not one, but it's a intra-city opponent. The Warriors are still sitting there. So take all of this together, and the second part of a back-to-back, is AD going to play? Is LeBron going to play? There's a lot of ish in the air going into this game tonight.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, and I think some people would agree with this. Yes, it was a frustrating game because let's just look at it as a whole. Lakers have won 4 in a row. They went on a 4-game road trip. Remember, they lost that game on a Sunday against the Chicago Bulls. Since then, 1 at Chicago, 1 at Minnesota, 1 at Houston, 1 at Utah. I'm not telling you that these are all. The Minnesota game was a big one. Chicago had something to play for. These last 2, not as much. They put themselves in a weird position yesterday, and I'm curious how much of an effect that's going to have on today's game, right? Within a 24-hour span, you play the Utah Jazz. AD had to play 42 minutes against the Jazz, who weren't playing anybody, right? They're sitting a lot of their guys. Bron had to play 38 minutes. And for a team that is trying to take advantage of rest when they can get it, kind of getting through certain injuries and everything else, it wasn't an ideal game. Now, they could have easily lost that game, and we would have been saying everything that we're talking about now, but they fell a spot in the standings. They did not fall in the standings, but to have to go to overtime yesterday, I'm curious how much of an effect that will have on them tonight. Clippers haven't played since Saturday. Lakers have played. They have not played a game since Saturday. Lakers had a game Sunday. They had a game Tuesday. They traveled. They're this, they're that. They came back late last night after the Jazz game to get ready for the Clippers tonight.
Yeah, so there's a lot going on. The Clipper thing is just a very small part of it. It's the back-to-back thing that's the most interesting to me, especially back-to-back with all of the travel, with the fact that they played an overtime game, the fact that all of these games, with the exception of the Houston game where they just blew them out, right, that they've been close. They've had to play very hard right up to the end of these games to win them, and then the big one tonight. Do they go? That's next. It's Travis Lee, 710 ESPN.
All right, Chris.
Yes.
Who is the most famous person in your contact list?
I know everyone thinks I'm going to say Keyshawn. And he's pretty famous, right? But I think it's Bob Costas. Bob and I worked together years ago.
I've been doing this a really long time, so I have a bunch of people in O'Shea.
Can you FaceTime him?
FaceTime one of them?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you know I got your back, bro.
There he is. There he is.
Michael Caine, the actor Michael Caine.
Can you FaceTime him?
Right now?
Yes.
Hell no. He's somewhere in England, hasn't made a movie in 20 years. No.
Is comedian Bill Engvall.
Can you FaceTime him? Right now?
Try. Bill,
What a surprise.
how are you?
I'm good. What are you doing?
James Worthy, I think, is the most famous person in my contact list. And if I tried calling James Worthy, there's a 1,000% chance he would not answer.
James Worthy.
You know who's not in the Hall of Fame, who should be, who's in this phone? Steve Mason and John Ireland. They need to be in the Radio Hall of Fame. I mean, I guess maybe Jay-Z, maybe.
Wrong.
I mean, I don't know if he's that. I guess maybe Jay-Z.
LeVar Ball, he's pretty famous. Charles Barkley. JB Smoove. Kyrie Irving, he's definitely changed his phone number since his Cleveland days.
Oh, that's easy. It's Magic Johnson, but the problem is he keeps changing his phone number on me.
Is Masters Week, and Al and I are giving you a chance to win the ultimate golf and spa luxury experience to Pacific Palms Resort. Here's how you can win. Caller number 7 wins a $50 gift card to Red Restaurant and qualifies for the grand prize, which is a 2-night stay at Pacific Palms Resort, 2 rounds of golf, 2 spa treatments, and dinner at the Red Restaurant. That's at Pacific Palms Resort, LA's Hilltop Hideaway, and #1 work and play resort. Book your next getaway at PacificPalmsResort.com. 877-710-ESPN.
Last Saturday, just hours after landing at LAX from international duty, LAFC's Denis Bouanga hit the game winner off the bench.
Denis Bouanga has broken the tie in the 84th minute.
The Black and Gold remain undefeated in MLS play as they head into Colorado for a battle with the Rapids on Saturday night. LAFC pregame gets going Saturday at 6 p.m. on 710 ESPN and the ESPNLA app.
Off at 7 p.m. Hear all of it. John Ireland, Michael Thompson, your flagship radio station for Lakers basketball. 710 ESPN. Don't touch the button, yo. Not today. We're going to get you ready as the Lakers' final push to the playoffs. 3 games left, and tonight, a must-win against Little Brother. Let's keep it rolling. Travis and Sliwa continues right now.
Hard to believe that there's only 3 games left. Those 79 went by like that, Slee. For me, at least. How about you?
That is
maybe a little
crazy.
bit less for you.
That is kind of crazy.
Go to all of them?
Every time I do the pre, and I'm just putting, I'll put game number 31, 37, 44. Yesterday, I wrote 80. Yeah, because I was prepping for today's.
Today.
I wrote 80. I'm like, 80?
Yep.
The hell? And a month ago, it didn't seem like, all right, they might get to 82, and there's no game. Maybe they get another game or 2 in. And now to kind of actually think, all right, well, let's say they don't get out of the top 6. They're probably not going to fall beyond 7. So you're going to get a home game here. Pelicans lost yesterday. You have the tiebreaker on them. Minnesota, you have some cushion on. Dallas is wherever they are. So at worst, you're probably going to get 7th. And then you just got to win 1 to just start your
you get 2 shots.
round.
You'll get them both at home. They're in a really good spot. We'll talk about that in just 1 second. Not only is the Laker thing turning, it is also Masters Week, Slee.
Yeah.
Masters Week is one of my favorite weeks of the year, and Slee and I are giving you a chance to win the ultimate golf and spa luxury experience to Pacific Palms Resort. When we tell you to call, you're going to want to call, and you can win a $50 gift card to Red Restaurant, and you will also qualify for the grand prize, which is a 2-night stay at Pacific Palms Resort, 2 rounds of golf on 2 great golf courses, by the way, 2 spa treatments, and dinner at the Red Restaurant. Of course, it is Pacific Palms Resort, LA's Hilltop Hideaway, and #1 work and play resort. Book your next getaway at PacificPalmsResort.com. Is there anything short of a Tiger Woods run to another Masters Championship that will get you to flip that thing on this weekend?
Just Tiger Woods, final day on Sunday, throw on that red Nike polo, and then,
nothing else.
Let me know at the 9th hole where he is on the final day, and then we go from there.
Yeah, I get it. It's a little bit, you got to be a golf person.
How much are you consuming starting on Thursday?
As much as possible.
Okay.
As much
So
as
you're all
possible. Oh, yeah. No,
Yeah.
it's the best golf event of the year. I know there are other majors, but it's the first one. It's the best one. It's the most memorable course. It's the most beautiful. And Tiger has a chance here that he doesn't. His chances are not good. Don't get me wrong. But if there were a venue for him to have a better than average chance,
This would be the one?
This is probably the one. Although it's supposed to rain and be miserable and all those things, which for a guy with one leg doesn't add up to a great opportunity. But you never know. You never know. 2019, I didn't think he was going to win that one, and here we are all over again.
Speaking of which, just on the weather real quick, Houston was so hot.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Sleep.
85, muggy, humid as heck. I think I got my taste of Houston. I think I'm good.
What did I tell you before you left?
Do I say it? Okay, basically you just said this. Not your favorite city.
I liked the people a great deal when I lived there, but the city itself is very uninspiring, shall we say?
Doesn't have a lot of charm.
There's not a lot of charm. It's very flat. It's not particularly pretty. It's the weather.
Very spread out.
The weather is almost always bad. You get these crazy extremes. So look, it's not shall we say, Pebble Beach. It's not the most beautiful spot in the world.
Came back here yesterday. I'm like, what am I, Minnesota? Went from
cold.
The desert to the cold.
Listen to the Dodger game last night. This is so you. So it's very chilly here at Dodger Stadium. It's 58 degrees. Can we calm down a little bit?
They basically were ready to cancel the game on, what was that? Tuesday, Monday
It was
night.
like 25 miles per hour
Monday
winds.
night when it was windy. But just think about that. That's us.
That's really windy.
Taylor,
though.
I understand that, but think about us. What you just said was let's cancel the game because it was really windy.
As a Midwesterner at heart, as somebody who's a Minnesota Twins fan, what do you make of Southern Californians complaining about a 58-degree day with some breezy weather?
This is kind of what I'm used to now. So I've been here for too long. I'm getting I don't know.
Do you get thawed out?
I get cold. I get cold in the studio every day, man. It's so cold in here. This artificial
It is really
air.
cold today.
Slee's got on a parka. He's going to
Can I
make
borrow
an
that,
expedition
Sliwa?
to the North Pole.
Can I borrow your hat too?
No, you can't borrow
I
anything.
want the patch.
It's freezing in here.
You could use the patch as like a quilt. Just take the whole thing off. You could wrap your all 6'5" of you could fit underneath the logo on the side of Slee's hat. That's too big, Slee. That should be like 20% smaller.
You got to remind them.
I didn't make it. But I am going to remind everybody. I'll just point like this.
That's
I don't even
right.
have to. I just got to turn.
You
Final
should
four.
wear it sideways.
Final four.
Right? Just with the bill pointed east.
Man, they were trying to sell all that merch that they're trying to sell there.
Did you get anything?
No, because so much of it was just a lot of it was just the Final Four logo. That doesn't even guarantee the school's logo.
Right.
No, I don't want to buy a Final Four 2023 logo. I know there's some people there that have no affiliation, but I don't have interest in that. There wasn't gear. San Diego State gear sold out all the time. So there was everything that was left. The only gear that you can get that's just one individual school, like UConn had it, FAU, Miami. There was nothing for San Diego State. I went and looked online yesterday just to see what they have. They have so much good stuff that was not there that I'll just end up buying.
All right, Ask Mace coming up in about 20 minutes from right now. So if you've got a question for Venice Mace, you can send it to us on Twitter. You can make a phone call when it comes around to 877-710-3776. So Anthony Davis has not played back-to-backs. LeBron just played heavy minutes last night. It is he's still recovering from his foot injury. The Lakers, like you said a second ago, Slee, they're in a pretty good spot. 6 is better than 7. Don't get it wrong. You know, whenever you get into that 7 through 10, randomness pops up, and nobody needs any part of that, right? Give me best of 7 if you can go straight there. But considering they're probably locked into that 7 spot, considering that if you are in the 7 spot, you get 2 chances to win 1 game at home. Do you think we're going to see those guys tonight? Because it's not just to move into the 6th. It is to snap a 10-game losing streak. It's to kind of send a message to the guys that share your building that, look, we're not the team that you've beaten 10 times in a row. We're not the team that you've really dominated over the last 10 years
Literally,
or so.
the roster is different.
Yeah.
Players are available.
So do we see them?
Before the game yesterday, before they took on the Utah Jazz, I kind of, not without hesitation, because there was no indication yesterday listening, and people are asking Darvin Ham the question pregame. They're asking Darvin Ham. They're asking LeBron. They're asking Anthony Davis, what do you guys think postgame? Darvin Ham said this. He said, D'Angelo, LeBron, Anthony Davis are going to be reassessed in the morning when they get back to L.A. Anthony Davis said, I'm going to have to check and see. We'll get on a call in the morning and figure it out. LeBron said, I got to see how my foot is feeling. So none of them gave this indication like, yeah, sometimes you hear the,
sure,
oh, no, you're not, I'm playing tomorrow.
Yep.
I didn't hear that from anybody. And there was no clear-cut indication that was going to happen. That gives me a little bit of hesitation to say, all right, well, none of them were basically saying, guys, I don't care what's happened in the past. This is as big as it gets. We're trying to get in that top 6. I'm going to play tomorrow. By not hearing that, I'm not saying that means that the guys aren't going to play, but it also didn't give me this incredible confidence that they are going to play. On top of that, you played 42 minutes if you're Anthony Davis. You played 38 minutes if you were LeBron James. This was the 4-game road trip that ended in Utah, and then you flew after the game. I want to say the game had to have been about 9:30, 10 o'clock our time. So I think Utah 1 hour ahead. They fly back to L.A. Who knows what time they went to bed yesterday? They're going to go get their treatment.
Hour or two ago.
Right. They're going to go get their treatment and everything else. So I guess there's some hesitation to think. I don't know if this is. Would I be surprised if all of them are playing today? Maybe I'd be a little bit surprised. D'Angelo might be a little bit easier because he hasn't played in a game and a half.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
But the Anthony Davis and LeBron, it'd be really disappointing if they didn't play, specifically Anthony Davis. LeBron, I understand he still kind of is actively trying to get through his injury, but they're going to need AD and Bron are going to have to be there if you have a legitimate chance. I'm not saying the Clippers are perfect, but the Clippers will be ready for tonight's game.
I want to go back to the very first thing you said because I think that's it. The fact that nobody's like, we're going, leads me to believe that they're not. Now, I'm leaving open the possibility of being pleasantly surprised that when do the lineups come out? When do we know today? By like 1 o'clock, typically, right around there?
So it's kind of been random. They could easily just say questionable all the way till a half hour to the game starts. However, they've sprinkled stuff in these last couple of games. Like we found out about D'Angelo Russell during our show yesterday. That could happen.
Yeah, I think that's why I'm not expecting to see either one of them. And quite frankly, I'm not so sure that you want to throw them back. I mean, you want to win, like we said, for all the reasons that we talked about. You want to get out of 7 through 10 if you can without potentially putting yourself in a position to really kind of foul things up moving forward. The last thing you want is to hit that gas tonight to beat the Clippers, to break the streak, to send them to whatever the things may be, and now all of a sudden it's like, we broke one of them or both of them again. If you lose tonight, it's not the end of the world, right? You can still very much control your own destiny. You can still very much get into one of those spots, whether it's through the play-in or otherwise. And I don't know if the way things are going right now, that Anthony Davis has been playing so well, that LeBron not only is back, but he really doesn't look like he's suffering the ill effects of what I would assume is a pretty painful foot situation that
he hasn't shown it
at all.
He might struggle from the field or something. He might look tired at the end of games,
That's
but
different.
he has not. You don't see him limping or anything.
You don't see him hobbling. You don't see him doing like, he's walking weird. You're not doing that. You're not seeing him lie on the ground and hold his foot and grimace and all. He looks fine, and I don't know if you risk that for all the other things that we're talking about. If these guys are even a little bit and this is a change because when we went, when we were at Yamava a couple of weeks ago after they lost that Houston game, and it was he's going to have to play that next back-to-back because it's going to be crucial to them getting in or not. It's not. They basically went and won all of their games since then, more or less, and now all of a sudden they've for the first time in a long time, they've given themselves a little bit of a cushion to where you can say, you know what, guys, catch your breath right here. The D'Lo thing is pretty interesting too because he's kind of plays one night, doesn't play the next night. Plays one night, doesn't plays half. It's like his in and out. To me, is more unpredictable than AD and LeBron. But I really do not expect to see either one of them tonight. I'd love to turn on my TV at 7 o'clock tonight and be wrong and see them both out there, see them run the Clippers off the court. But I don't expect it. I think we'll probably both see them in street close tonight.
So I think. I'm gonna go a little bit the other way on this. I think if they can't go, or strategically they're just saying to themselves, Anthony Davis, I know how much you want to play, but we're just holding you back. There is, like you were saying, this is the final back-to-back. There's a big picture here in mind. But if you're just going to sit them just to, hey, let's be extra cautious, that I disagree with. I think that LeBron, I put in a different category because LeBron it's only been a few games that LeBron has been back. It's not like he's been back for 20 games or something along those lines. But even LeBron, if LeBron is saying, guys, I'm fine. I woke up this morning and I feel fine. I'm going to go play tonight. And I think LeBron would make that decision before anybody else. But if LeBron can play tonight, if Anthony Davis feels fine and the trainers are like, look, you're good to go. You had your injury almost now, however long ago it was. You've been back for this many games. You missed your last 2 back-to-backs. We've kind of handled this enough to where you got the green light. I think they should play. I really do. Now, if there's any indication that, no, you can't, there's a reason why we're doing this, I understand that. But if both guys can play tonight, even though what happened yesterday, I think you play him if you can.
He's played one back-to-back all season. It was in November. I'd be really surprised to see him tonight. This is how they've done it. This is how, this would be the weird time to all of a sudden go do it. They've been so predictable in how that they've done it. We'll see. I'd love to see him play, but I'm not expecting it. Speaking of the Clippers, the opponent tonight, there's a big question that I have for one of the guys on that team that's coming up next. It's Travis Lee, 710 ESPN.
Is Masters Week, and Al and I are giving you a chance to win the ultimate golf and spa luxury experience to Pacific Palms Resort. Here's how you can win. Caller number 7 wins a $50 gift card to Red Restaurant and qualifies for the grand prize, which is a 2-night stay at Pacific Palms Resort, 2 rounds of golf, 2 spa treatments, and dinner at the Red Restaurant. That's at Pacific Palms Resort, LA's Hilltop Hideaway and #1 work and play resort. Book your next getaway at PacificPalmsResort.com. 877-710 ESPN.
Coming up this hour around 10:45, you know we do the celebrity edition of Ask Slee. It is time for Ask Mace. I wonder if producer Emily will give him a hard time like yesterday about that show stealing bits from this show. That's coming up around 10:45 this hour on Travis and Sliwa on 710.
I like you protecting the house, Em. Good job. Keep it up.
I just got to make sure that we have our lane. We all have our lanes here.
That's right.
They can talk about, weed and that they can't sleep and that they're, they have their gated communities and all that good stuff. But like we're the people, we're the men of the people, women of the people. So we talk about food.
Slee, did you and Emily break down Succession yesterday? Or can I get caught up with her later today?
No, what we did is, so before the show, we chatted for like a half hour. I was in my car driving in, and we talked about it, Succession. And then after the show...
What'd you think?
I stayed till... What time did we stay? 2:15 or something like that?
Yeah, I think actually maybe 2:30, actually.
Probably like 2:30. I don't want to do it on the air.
Predictions, like who's going to get out, who's going to win Waystar Award Co., like all that good stuff.
He's going to die.
The spin-offs, yeah, he's going to die.
That feels like that's
I think it's going to happen in the next episode.
He's going down.
He's kind of excited for it. If I'm not getting like little fictional death, it'll be good. It'll be good.
I'm interested to see, because they've been doing so many things that are like building up of like these mega big scenes of Brian Cox doing these stuff. It sounds like a swan song.
Well, it's been the first 2 episodes have been him, right?
Yes.
Like he's been the star of both of those 2 episodes.
And Carrie, love Carrie.
Yeah, she's all right. She's
love her bangs.
I
want her bangs.
That's different. Let's try a phone call here. Let's go to Lancaster and Charles. Charles, you're on with Travis Lee. What's going on, Charles?
Good morning, fellas. I was just wondering your thoughts, how you think the Lakers handled this back-to-back game situation. I was been feeling like they should have just sat AD and LeBron yesterday and let them play against the Clippers. I think it's kind of a cop-out move to kind of back down from the Clippers.
So I think, Charles, I heard some of this in the postgame yesterday. I think, let's just say the Lakers didn't play LeBron and AD yesterday, and they saved them for tonight.
Yep.
Well, then they would have lost yesterday, which would have, and the Clippers already have a tiebreaker on the Lakers. So I guess what you're looking for is you just want to specifically beat the Clippers. So if that was the goal, then I agree with that. I don't think they thought they were going to go in an overtime game yesterday. I don't think they thought it was going to be as close as it was. I don't really pay that much attention. Listen, the Lakers and the Clippers are not going to face each other in the playoffs unless it's, I think, the Western Conference Finals, or it's going to depend on how everything shakes out.
It's hard to tell where everybody's going to land with 3 games to go.
So I don't think either way it would have been that big of a deal, because what message are you really going to send in the regular season when you really haven't had a lot of these guys play against each other? Who knows if the Clippers even get past the first round because Paul George is not there? For me, it's more, if they're able to play and avoid the play-in tournament, I'd like to see that. It would be nice to avoid the play-in tournament. If they're able to get the 5th or the 6th spot, we've talked about it. 6 is probably the most ideal. Now you're out of the Phoenix Suns, Denver Nuggets bracket. Mm-hmm. You could potentially, you're going to have, let's say, the Warriors and the Suns have to play each other in the first round. One of those teams are gone. If you're in the 7th, the world's not going to end. But now you are in the play-in tournament, and you don't get that 5-6 days rest that some of these other teams are going to get.
So I want to go back to what he said and what the implication of his call was. And just stop and ask yourself this. Do you really think LeBron James is ducking anybody? Do you really think that LeBron James is sitting around saying, I don't want any of that Clipper smoke? Not a chance.
He's not scared of anybody.
He's not scared of anybody. He's not. That's not who he is. That's not how he rolls. He'll play when it's time to play. He will play if he's healthy enough to play. He will play in the games that he's able to play in. They need to get into the 6 if they can. They don't need to send a message to the Clippers. There is no message sending right now that needs to be done. The message will be sent if and when they meet each other in the playoffs, right? And I get it. There's a little bit of a weird dynamic that the Clippers have been beating the Lakers as frequently as they have, right? It's a little bit like that 49er-Ram thing where the 49ers just beat the Rams like a drum when it really, really, really mattered.
Rams got it.
The Rams found a way to win that game. Now they got a break. Thank you, Jaquaski Tart. I'll be thanking him for quite some time. But that's kind of what this is. Let's see when it matters the most who is there, who plays well, who wins the series. I'm not saying the Clippers can't win a series against the Lakers. Obviously they could, but LeBron's not ducking anybody. LeBron's not, hey, listen, play me on Tuesday against the Jazz so I don't have to play on Wednesday. Come on, man. So LeBron James doesn't roll like that.
I think there's 2 different ways to look at tonight's game. I'm not looking at, I get it's the Clippers. I get that's who the Lakers have. And I think naturally you're going to say, all right, they've won 10 games in a row against Lakers. Ty Lue had some quotes saying it's the first real meaningful game between the 2 franchises as long as he's been the head coach of the Los Angeles Clippers. It is a meaningful game because both teams have the same record. But even if it wasn't the Clippers and they were playing the Pelicans or the Warriors or the Kings or the Grizzlies or the Nuggets, if you could avoid the play-in tournament is how I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it from that perspective, that by losing tonight, you're pretty much almost guaranteed, unless the Golden State Warriors have some type of hiccup, of getting that 7th spot. That's what the difference is. If the stakes weren't what I'm talking, if both teams didn't have the exact same record, if it wasn't for a seeding purpose, I don't really pay that much attention to one game against the Clippers in the regular season. For me, it's more, can you get a week off before the playoffs start? And the Lakers could potentially get 5 or 6 days off if they avoid the play-in.
They could use as much as anybody else,
that's,
too.
So just think about what we're referring to. Anthony Davis on a back-to-back, LeBron having to play 38 minutes. If you can get 5 or 6 days off before the playoffs start, that sounds like that'd be great for the Lakers.
That is a good argument. The argument that the caller was making, that's not what it was. That was that they're trying to skip the Clippers, which I just don't believe to be true. They need to beat the Clippers for all the reasons that you said.
For those purposes.
But if they're saying, look, they're not ready to go. They played heavy minutes last night, back-to-back. We're going to be in the play. We're going to sit them down. I'm okay with that, too. Let's try North Hollywood this time. And Steve. Steve, you're on with Trav and Slee. What's up, Steve? Steve? Last chance?
It's a good point.
No,
Steve is out. It's a good point.
Steve is out. Russell Westbrook.
Steve, I want you to expand on that.
Russell Westbrook has been good for the Clippers. He has. I mean, it hasn't been terrific, but he's been good. They've needed him. They've been able to do those the things that they were hoping to get from him. They mostly have. He's shooting the ball a little bit better. Do you think that he's going to Russell Westbrook tonight? And you know what I mean without even having to explain it, right? That he's going to go out there and do the you guys didn't want me, now watch this sort of thing, because that's how he rolls. That's who he is. That's what, for the most part, has made him as successful as an athlete as he is that he takes
it
stuff
personal.
very personally.
Sure.
And tonight, is it was personal with the Lakers. They desperately wanted him out, and once they did get him out, it's not 1 + 1 = 2, but his absence allowed them to go get better players, and they've gone to another level. I would not be surprised if Russ had a "let me show you what you're missing" type of performance tonight, and it goes wrong 100 different ways.
I have not watched much Russ with the Clippers, and just think about how much run Russell Westbrook used to get national media when he was wearing a Los Angeles Lakers jersey. Now he's in a Clippers jersey. It's a lot quieter. But just pay attention to this. Do you know how many points he was averaging with the Lakers when he was with the Lakers this season? I'll tell you.
16.
16 points on the dot. 15.9. Okay? 15.9. Okay? Clippers.
Wait, you're just going to go past that?
Clippers.
Did I nailed it?
Clippers, how many points do you think he's averaging?
Look, if you're not going to do it.
Travis is right.
Thank you.
I know you're more secure with yourself. You could just kind of let that one
Travis
go.
is right.
Thank you.
How many points do you think he has with the Clippers averaging this year?
I have no idea.
15 points. Okay, so how many assists and rebounds? With the Lakers, his stats were actually better with the Lakers. 16 points, 7 assists, 6 rebounds. With the Clippers, 15 points, 7 assists, almost 8, 5 rebounds. His stats are actually better with the Lakers than it was with the Clippers. However, fit is everything. It's not, I was thinking about this yesterday. I almost kind of forgot the Russell Westbrook with the Clippers and that matchup and that dynamic. Apologize, but I almost did forget about that. It's not Russell Westbrook's fault that he was traded to a team that he didn't fit with. Russell Westbrook is not the reason why the Lakers kept losing. It's not him specifically. Your front office traded for a player that didn't fit, and then by the time they said, okay, let's go trade him for other players that actually fit, it worked out really well for the Lakers. Everyone was mad at Russ because it was just like, let's point the finger at him. Russ did not trade himself to the Los Angeles Lakers. To go back to your point, I do think there's a personal thing for Russell Westbrook. I wouldn't be shocked or surprised that Russ comes out tonight and takes it a little bit personal. At the same time, he doesn't need to. Like he fits. He fits with the Clippers. He fits much better with that team than he did with the Lakers.
You're doing that thing again where you're expecting him to do the thing he never does. Where, I don't know, I'm just going to let this water roll off my back. That's not how Russell Westbrook does
So
things.
what do you think he does?
I think he comes out and takes a million shots.
That could happen.
And does the full Russell Westbrook experience, the bad version of it.
Then that's good for the Lakers.
It is, but that's what he does because that's who he is. He is, what's the line? Is it zebras and stripes or leopards and spots? I don't know, but they don't move around a lot. They are what they are, and he's a half zebra, half leopard, half NBA, half Hall of Famer, half everything along the way. Ask Mace coming up next. It's Travis Lee, 710 ESPN.
Is Masters Week, and Al and I are giving you a chance to win the ultimate golf and spa luxury experience to Pacific Palms Resort. Here's how you can win. Caller number 7 wins a $50 gift card to Red Restaurant and qualifies for the grand prize, which is a 2-night stay at Pacific Palms Resort, 2 rounds of golf, 2 spa treatments, and dinner at the Red Restaurant. That's at Pacific Palms Resort, LA's Hilltop Hideaway and #1 work and play resort. Book your next getaway at PacificPalmsResort.com. 877-710-ESPN.
Destiny Wednesday. Meanwhile, it is time for the Wednesday celebrity edition of Ask Slee. And today it is Ask Mace, our very own Steve Mace from Mason in Ireland. You can hear them 1 to 4 afternoons. Ask Mace is presented by our friends at Harrah's Resort SoCal. Find your funner state of mind with a visit to Harrah's Resort SoCal. Voted best resort in funner California. From dining to unwinding, you'll find fun around every corner. Learn more at harrahssocal.com. Let's do it for a Wednesday Ask Mace right now.
All right, so Mace, let me ask you this before we get to the callers and tweeters along the way. What's where in your long and distinguished career, where does ranking as the first person to double up on Ask Slee rank in your career achievements?
You know, it is honestly, it's right up there. It feels like the second time I won my Bob Miller trophy, which honestly, I have on a pedestal, and it spins, and there's a spotlight on it. I would like to know if there's some sort of prize, some sort of trophy that you could give me before John Ireland comes in and throws it into the wall.
We're getting you a new car. We're getting you a new car, Mace.
All right, Mace, you know how it works. Do you want a phone call or do you want a tweet to start?
Let's go phone call.
All right, let's go to Downey and Jason. Downey, you're on with Mace. Hashtag Ask Mace. What do you got? Jason.
Hey, Jason.
All right, let's
Good
try,
start, Mace. Good start.
Let's try Jeremy in West Covina
we're
again.
We're off and running.
Jeremy in West Covina, are you there? Because we may have a problem with these phones.
Yeah,
I'm
the
just
phones
saying.
might not be working.
Okay, let's go. Let's take a tweet.
Let's do a tweet here. All right, this is from Capitano Matt. It says, Mace, you're making an ESPNLA movie. Who do you cast for the lead roles? Hashtag Ask Mace.
Very tough. I think you, Travis, are off the top of my head, Kevin James.
Oh, I'll take that.
I am John Slattery from Mad Men because we have the same hair.
Yeah. I mean, it just happens to be that he's super handsome and everything. That's just a coincidence.
Exactly, just a coincidence. John Ireland is Alan Ruck, who plays Connor on Succession.
Nice.
Let's see, Slee. Who plays Slee? I'm trying
Stanley
to
Tucci.
Yeah, he keeps going back to Stanley. Yeah, keep going
That's
there.
Perfect. And a great guy. Yeah, Stanley Tucci's a great call. Cappy, damn, if Robin Williams was still around, he'd be perfect for Cappy. And Shadano, let's see. Let's go with, again, off the top of my head, let's go with Andy Garcia.
Ooh, that's a good
old,
one.
but Andy Garcia, also Cuban.
Okay, Mace, Brandon on Twitter. Who would be in your ESPN 710 smoke circle?
That's a good one.
Cappy for sure. Ireland wouldn't do it, but he would be. I would love to see Ireland really rock and stoned one time. Slee, you would be there. I think you partake.
I would have been so hurt if you didn't say that I was in the circle. Now I may.
Oh, no,
I will. I just a couple puffs and it goes right back to you, and we keep it moving.
We'd put on some Marley. We would kick back.
Why don't we just do that
fatty.
Saturday?
That would be perfect, man.
All right, here's one from Brian. He writes, what is something, besides eating in bed or wearing sweats every day, that is frowned upon in society that you wish was not frowned upon? What would make Mace socially acceptable?
Let's see. What would make... slides with no shoes. Like, I'll wear sweatpants to work, but I won't wear slides with no shoes, but I wish that was acceptable.
You want to go slides with, with no socks, you mean, right?
I'm sorry, slides with no socks.
Yeah.
Slides with no socks is what I meant.
Yeah, but that's, you want to do that to work? Nobody wants to see your feet here in the office.
Well, that's
why.
why.
No, to work. I think it's, to me, radio is all about being comfortable. That's what I want more than anything.
Yeah, but what about the comfort of your fellow workers, your fellow
but isn't that
employees?
But isn't that part of the acceptance that we all just accept that he's going to come? I'll come barefoot if I have to. I'm with you, Mace. Let the feet
like
breathe.
Bobby.
Like Bobby.
Barefoot like Bobby.
He would sign up for it. He has absolutely no qualms about being. It's not even that he's barefoot. He has socks on. He just doesn't bring his shoes. And it's not that he wants it. It's very complicated. It's very, very complicated along the way. You win the Powerball. What's the very first thing you buy? Hashtag Ask Mace.
I buy the house that is a caddy corner from my house. I love this house. I covet this house. I would walk in, make a cash offer, and get that house.
Why is it so desirable for you? Is it just location?
It's one of those like modern-y looking things, like the boxes, and it's lit real well. That's what I would like.
How many houses is it from you? Is it like within 5 houses?
Oh, yeah. No, it's like 2 houses away.
So
I'd move 2 houses away.
I would assume that you'd also buy the 2 houses in between, keep your house, and now he's got basically 4 properties right there.
A little compound in Venice.
That's what I'm looking for, a compound.
Do you leave it open, or do you build like one of those walls or one of those giant hedges to keep people from prying eyes away from Mason?
I think I leave it open. I like my neighbors. I like, unlike you, I would like to, have good relationships with my neighbors, friendly relationship. I don't need a gigantic wall to separate me from my
Trav needs
neighbors.
50 acres where just nobody comes even
Out
close.
the farm.
I could reach out the window in my shower and touch my neighbor's roof. That's how close our houses are next to each other.
And yet you won't speak to them.
Well, I feel like we get along just fine, not knowing each other's names.
When you're in the hallway and you look out the window, you could see your neighbor, and then you immediately just close the blinds.
You can do that. There's some angles there that are not entirely desirable. That you got to be careful that the blinds are drawn at specific time. Let's try another phone call here. Let's go back to West Covina. Try Jeremy again. Jeremy, you're on with Mace. What's up?
Hey, so earlier this season, I made an offering to the basketball gods. Urban Hand Space patted on. Question is, have you made any offerings to the sports gods, and did that pay off for you?
Yes, I made an offer to the sports gods that the Rams would somehow get to the Super Bowl at SoFi Stadium and that I would be there. And it was one of the great experiences of my life. I did make an offer to the sports gods for that, and it absolutely paid off. I don't know if it's like a genie, you get 3 wishes or whatever the hell it was, but I got my wish on that one.
What was the offer? What did you offer up to get it to happen?
My first child.
Praying every evening.
I'm not going to have any kids, so it's okay.
Safe bet.
All right, Mace, I got a question for you. So, what's the best movie that you've seen in 2023? And also, who's the best interview you've ever had?
Okay, number 1, the best movie I've seen so far this year is Air, which is coming out officially in theaters today. Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, Jason Bateman. Fantastic movie. Absolutely love it. Absolutely recommend it. Second part of the question, best interview. I've got one out right now. It's not the greatest of all time, but it's pretty cool. Matthew Berry talks about a bunch of personal stuff on the Culture Pop podcast. It's out right now. He tweeted about it last night. Really, really great interview. Check it out.
All right, let's go back to Twitter here, Mace. This is from Brian, and he writes, what product would you stockpile if you discovered they were going to stop selling it?
Suavecito, which is a hair gel that I use all the time, especially now because I don't wear hats anymore. Suavecito, I don't know what I would do without.
All right, Mace, you remember this? Do you remember during COVID, you said that you were basically buying up, if I'm right, weren't you buying up all the Parmesan cheese? What were you buying from Costco?
The green Parmesan cheese is the best. I put it on everything. It's like I put it on stuff more than I put salt on stuff, right? Because it is kind of
the green tub from Kraft.
I love.
Yeah, I think it is Kraft, right?
Yeah, the Kraft.
Okay, the worst Parmesan cheese there could be.
Listen, Trev. This was, remember when there was no products, certain products were just off the shelf during COVID, right?
Sure.
Everybody's going and buying everything. Mace was basically able to go sell to different markets with the amount of Parmesan cheese that he was buying from Costco. He had 30% of the inventory.
Again, the worst Parmesan cheese available.
I'm just going on.
By the way, too, the thing is, you can have your toilet paper during your pandemic. I got my Parmesan cheese.
Here are the 2 things. Watching the Doomsday Preppers and what they do. Ammo and water. Those are the 2 things.
Ammo and water. Ammo and Parmesan cheese.
And Kraft Parmesan cheese. A very specific brand.
Give me that bottle of water
cheese
behind the cheese.
One more here, Mace, before we let you go. This is from Rich, and Rich says, what is your perfect Sunday?
Okay, perfect Sunday would be Lakers and Dodgers both playing. stoned, really nice. I love watching sports when I'm stoned.
What time would that start, just out of curiosity?
The stone part would start about 2 p.m., right after maybe the third inning of the Dodger game. Then the Lakers come on after that, which would be perfect. And let's see, dinner. How about a great big spaghetti and meatballs for dinner with Parmesan cheese?
Well, you have plenty. You wouldn't have to go looking for it. It's still in your cupboard along the way. Good luck on getting your neighbor's house. I'm excited for you to build the Mason compound, and go eat your cheese, and we'll see you in about an hour and a half or so.
All right, see you in a while. Thanks
Mace.
guys.
You got it, Mace. that is the Emily's right. It's Parmesan cheese in name, but like there are literally endless options that are.
I'm not
better
kidding.
Than
The
that
guy,
version of
the
cheese.
guy during COVID was basically stocking up on cheese. He didn't need paper towels. He didn't need water. He didn't need canned foods. He was stocking up on Parmesan cheese.
I have a new favorite Dodger, at least for the time being, Slee. I'll tell you who it is next. It's Travis Slee.
Is Masters Week, and Al and I are giving you a chance to win the ultimate golf and spa luxury experience to Pacific Palms Resort. Here's how you can win. Caller number 7 wins a $50 gift card to Red Restaurant and qualifies for the grand prize, which is a 2-night stay at Pacific Palms Resort, 2 rounds of golf, 2 spa treatments, and dinner at the Red Restaurant. That's at Pacific Palms Resort, LA's Hilltop Hideaway and #1 work and play resort. Book your next getaway at PacificPalmsResort.com. 877-710-ESPN.
So there was a discussion on Mason and Arlen yesterday that I had to weigh in on and text the people about, because it was just it's such a huge divide in generations, and it's something that I just can't get over. All right, so do you guys know what ellipses are?
Yes.
So like the dots when you text somebody. So the crew yesterday was defending the use of ellipses, saying ellipses are fine, they don't do anything. But to me, they connotate hesitation, passive aggressiveness, and just unnecessarily ominous. And this is why I think it's just. Do you guys use ellipses all the time?
I use them.
Why?
For those reasons. For me.
To build
It's
tension.
like, dun dun
to
dun.
build suspense.
Yes, because there's
to indicate that there is more on the way.
right. So that makes sense. But when people use it, so Alan, yes, you just texted me. You use it a lot. You also use it a lot in your emails. You're like, "Hey, Em, ... and then you go on with what you were trying to say with me. But I just always feel like I'm left off on this ominous note. So Al, why do you use ellipses so often and everything?
I'm aggressive. I'm looking for a problem. I'm looking for an issue. I want
You're
people
mysterious.
to know. I want people to know that don't come at me. That's what all of those indicate for me. I don't really know why I use them, but I use them, and I'm with you. I kind of like using them.
Yeah.
I
Aunt will
really
be like,
don't think about it very often.
I don't either. I don't think about any of that stuff.
it's like boomers. My aunt will say, "Hey, Em, ... and it's like, "Are you coming home first?"
Out of curiosity, what do you consider a boomer?
Anybody older than I'm just kidding. I would say my parents' age are boomer-esque. So
But
I guess
they're
you guys
not.
are.
You understand that?
My mom is a boomer.
Your mom is?
Yes. She's in the range of being a baby boomer.
Okay.
My dad is a Gen Xer.
He's a Gen Xer.
But I will call them both boomers because they act like boomers. I say anybody who doesn't know how to use technology or this rule of talking that we all agree on.
You have a lot of rules that no one else is aware of.
This
which
is
I
not.
like, by the
Everyone
way.
is aware of this rule. I literally just Googled
The ellipses rule.
I Googled and I said, "Why are ellipses?" And then it finishes the sentence for me. It says passive aggressive, and this is the article. It says,
Okay,
"Why
here's the
do
difference. Here's the
why?"
It's not. I was not aware of it. But what Emily, you find ways to let things like that bother you, where I think a lot of other people don't.
But I just overthink
don't pay
these
attention
things.
to it.
But
Don't pay
the
attention to
article
it.
says, why do old people love ellipses so much? When used in casual conversations, ellipses connotate hesitation, confusion, and apathy. They're the most passive-aggressive of all the punctuation marks.
I'll fight anybody.
That's a lot of thought on ellipses.
But if you got to text someone and say, "Hey, M, ... and then didn't get to have anything else there, what would you think is the reaction?
I think somebody said hello to you.
I would think that they're going to send me something later.
I think a young person, Emily, would be doing it passive aggressively, but an older person wouldn't be thinking about it like these guys are talking about.
I just
So
don't
somebody
understand.
like
I would
me,
figure your battery died, that you forgot what you were going to say, that it's really not that important. You changed
Your other
your
text
mind.
didn't go through.
Yeah, it's fine. I wouldn't put it this way. I would not be like, what's coming next? That would not be my assumption.
My God,
she's going to break up with me.
I would not call you like, hey, you sent me this text and it had an ellipses on it and nothing ever came. Is everything okay? I'd be like,
What
yeah,
if it was
battery must have died.
Hey, Travis, ... give me a call, ... What do you think about that text?
Probably shoot him a call.
I would call that person.
I just give him a call.
And it depends on who sent that text.
Allison, the text.
Who sent it?
Alan.
I would call out. Maybe
Amanda.
not right away, but I would call him back. If it came from somebody, if Scott McCarthy sent me that text, I'd be like, if Sam Pine sent me that text, I'd be like, oh, okay, that's something that can't be communicated in text. That would make me feel a different way.
Yeah, and Mace was also saying that he always uses double exclamation points too, and I think that's also aggressive. Double exclamation points is a little bit
I
aggressive.
think a lot about punctuation. I like it.
I think
Were you an English major?
No, I was a history major, but also texts matter.
No, not really.
They do.
No, not really. It's fine. It's just a way to say, hey, we make sure you get some butter on the way. From
Quick
the
way to
store.
communicate without talking to anybody.
Dodgers win again last night. They're scoring a bunch of runs more often than they're not. There's a lot of good things. Their starting pitching is really good. Will Smith is off to a great start. Mookie's off to a nice start. But I got to tell you, Slee, and I haven't had a favorite Dodger for a minute because I'm a Dodger fan, obviously, but I was a Corey Seager guy. He was my favorite guy for 3 or 4 years. He was out, the way he played, he swings the bat, everything about him I really enjoyed watching him. I thought he was really integral to the success that they have, And when he left, it's like, okay, I love Kershaw, but there wasn't somebody that just kind of really was very, very excited just to see them do whatever it is that they were going to do next. I'm kicking the tires. Sure.
Well, I always kind of thought you had a favorite. I thought, and I'm going to assume now it's not that because you already mentioned his name. I always thought it was Will Smith.
Will Smith's great. He's just a great player, though. But he's not.
I feel like you do a good job of hyping him up because he doesn't get enough hype.
He's the most important player that doesn't get the hype. Mookie gets hype. Freddie got hype.
Yeah.
Trey Turner got hype.
Sure.
Kershaw gets hype. Like, he's kind of the next tier down, and he's the best player on that next tier, and sometimes the best player, full stop. But no, it's not him. It's James Outman. Because here's what the dude does. He doesn't seem to quite know entirely what's going on, which is kind of endearing.
Sure.
He's really green and brand new, which is exciting because you don't know exactly what sort of player he's going to be. He's
like
off
a
to
baller.
a great start.
Yep.
He's playing really well. He's incredibly enthusiastic. He plays incredibly hard. There aren't a ton of expectations on him, so he's just kind of nice and free and easy. And every night you go out there, you see him make a nice catch. You see him steal a bag. You see he had 2 triples the other night. He's had a home run. He runs really well. There's just something very engaging and endearing about him. I love that they're playing him just about every single day. He is the guy that I'm considering declaring as my favorite player. I'm very, very excited to see what he's done so far.
It's exciting, and this was part of the reason why there was such a curiosity to this season. Are you going to get a chance to see some guys that you typically haven't got to see? Are you going to get an opportunity to see some guys that the Dodgers kind of had no choice? Let's give these guys some run. Let's see what they're all about. Let's give them an opportunity more rather than I'm going to play him once a week or I'm going to play him for 2 weeks and then I'm going to set him down and then bring him back up. Let these guys play. And it's not the big name that everyone's familiar with. It's not the all-star that everybody's familiar with. There is an excitement about bringing people up through your own organization like nobody's business in the game of baseball. You've talked about, part of the case of making a case for the Dodgers has been, look, if you go look at the last 5, 7, 10 years, a lot of these players that are really good today came up through the Dodgers farm system. So if you name off 5, 6, 7 players that might have a chance of coming up, there is a likelihood that a couple of those guys are going to hit. Outman just looks like a good baseball player. He looks comfortable in a role that probably shouldn't be that comfortable when you're representing the Los Angeles Dodgers at this young of an age.
And I don't mean to. I don't want to put Miguel Vargas in a negative light at all because he's done a really nice job too, kind of jumping off this thing. But this is just entirely personal, I guess. When you watch Vargas, he's good, but it doesn't seem like it's super fun, right? With Outman, you feel like maybe there's a little bit of an element of something could go wrong because he's going a million miles an hour, because he's got that big swing, because he's playing such an important defensive position in center field. It just feels like you're kind of holding your breath when he goes to do his things. Vargas feels like he's been around forever, even though he's brand new. Vargas feels like he's been in the big leagues 7 or 8 years, even though Outman feels like he's got the eyes the size of the pie pans, that he's not quite sure what's happening, but he's just kind of soaking in every moment. I love watching that guy do what he does, and hopefully he keeps playing well, because if he can just kind of stay around 240 to 260 or whatever it is and play him every day, that's a huge opportunity. The next thing I need the Dodgers to do, Slee, is to stop messing around and just put Mookie Betts in right field. Were you? Oh, you were doing the Laker game last night.
But I saw it.
Did you see it?
Yeah.
Hey, Jason Hayward looks like an NBA player. He's huge, right? He's really tall. He's incredibly fit and fast and incredibly physical. Mookie's little.
Kind of a little bloop hit in between. Yep.
So here goes Mookie, who weighs, 170-something, and here comes Jason Hayward, who probably weighs 230-something.
Sure.
They're coming at each other full speed. Mookie makes the catch. Hayward slides, cuts his legs out from underneath him, and Mookie falls down on the ground. He said he tweaked his ankle here a little bit. I don't understand what we're doing here. I don't understand why we're taking the best right fielder in baseball, which Mookie Betts is, and playing him somewhere else. I know Jason Hayward is a nice outfielder. Why not Jason Hayward in left, Mookie in right, Outman in center? Figure out, Vargas can play second. If you need to rotate Taylor or Trace Thompson or whoever in, you can move some of these pieces around. But I do not need Mookie to get killed by the right fielder at some point. That was an incredibly scary moment for the Dodgers last night.
And he ended up, I think, hitting a double a little bit later in the game, and you see him a little limp there.
His
get
gait
a little
was
limp
off.
there going to second. He said he's fine. He said that he'll be all right. But this is on the Dodgers, but it was also Mookie Betts kind of pushing for it, wasn't it? Remember Mookie in spring training or whatever it was,
reason they're doing
when he was basically like he'd like to play second base.
And he's good at it. I mean, this isn't a he can't play second thing.
Yeah.
It's a he's the best right fielder in baseball thing.
Okay, let me ask you this then. They've had their injuries. They lost Trey Turner. Gavin Lux goes down. You're kind of shifting the lineup around. If you're the Dodgers and Mookie Betts comes to you and says, guys, I want to play second. I want to play some second this year. I'll still be out in right field. I know I'm the best right fielder in the game of baseball. I want some opportunities to play second. Can you tell Mookie Betts, no, you are not playing second. I'm sorry. Case closed. You're only going to be sitting in right field. Can you do that?
I think you can. I would phrase it a little differently than all that. I would say, listen, you're too important to
Now
us.
get
in right
out of here.
field, but we need you in right field. We can't. We're worried about potential problems if you're in the infield. We're worried about whatever it may be. You're our best player.
What if they did all that?
And he
Mookie
still says
said,
he wants to do it?
Guys, don't mean second a little bit.
We'll see what we can do. We'll see what we can do. We can find a way to do it occasionally, but to sign off on 40 games right out of the chute felt unnecessary.
So the only reason why I set it up that way, because doesn't it feel like that's what probably happened?
Oh, for sure.
I don't think the Dodgers were going to Mookie Betts and saying, hey, could I get you to play a little bit of second this year? I don't think that was the case. It was Mookie probably pushing for it. And I think it was a Dodgers organization trying to make sure Mookie Betts is kind of okay. You want a little bit of that? We're going to get you a little bit of that.
I need my best outfielder in the best spot.
Makes
and
sense.
We'll figure it out from there.
It makes sense.
And
I'm not saying you're
Jason
wrong there.
Hayward to steamroll him, right? It was really scary. You could hear it in the guys' voices calling the game last night. You could see that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, get up,
Oh, yeah.
and he didn't get up right. He's fine, right? He said it's no big deal, and it wasn't like where they crashed into each other like Ray Lewis and Ben Roethlisberger, but it was close enough to say, all right, hold on a second. What if that happened? And what if we get Mookie Betts hurt playing at a spot that's not his spot? I know he can. By the way, he's not bad at it. He's pretty good at it, but he's not nearly as good of a second baseman as he is a Ray. He already has 2 outfield assists. The season's 10 minutes old.
Wasn't it one of the games he went out to right at the end of the game, towards the end of the game, and gets the
the same guy out that he threw out a couple of days earlier.
And then Gratterall's like, not good enough.
Yeah, Gratterall
I'll still
he was
give
a
up a
little
run.
bit better last night. I'll tell you what else too. Jason Hayward hitting the way that he does. If that works out the way that it started out, and he's hitting 330 or something like that, he's not going to be that. But if Jason Hayward can go from a guy that was basically just about done to a guy that's a quality major league player at this point in his career, there's going to be a line of guys in spring training wanting to fill that role moving forward. They've done it with Tyler Anderson. They're doing it with Noah Syndergaard. If they can do it with a position player, because this isn't like Muncy or Taylor or Turner, who they got relatively early in their careers. Like, no, this guy has not been given the right chance. Jason Hayward, this is his 14th year in the major leagues. Like, he's a major league player. But to resurrect that
Low
guy,
risk, high reward.
If that hits, there's going to be 10 more of every year. Hey, I'll play for a year on a low number. I'll try to make my career back somewhere else.
I know it's early. I know it's literally the season just started. They look good. They look good. I know they had these 2 games where they scored a run, a little feast or famine. But you go take the totals of everything, what their plus-minus differential is as far as runs, the 4 games that they've won, the amount of runs that they've put up, how their starting rotation has looked. Will Smith looks amazing right now. They look good. This just very, very small sample size. They look good.
They do. Their pitching has been excellent. I think they're the number 1 offensive team in baseball right now. I think they've scored the most runs. The Rockies kind of throw some of that stuff. But you're right. They've looked good. Muncy's a problem. Taylor's a problem. And there are some other things going on there. But, yes, you're right. It's off to a very, very good start. Let's let Outman be Rookie of the Year. Let's keep Mookie in right field. Let's let Jason Hayward play left field and let everything else figure it out.
Right, Rockies are bad. Their 2 wins are against the Padres.
Yeah. Padres are weird. That Machado thing was weird yesterday.
They've looked very average over their first couple of games.
I want to talk about Machado getting tossed yesterday. Plus, can we start to look at some Western Conference matchups right now? That's coming up. It's Travis Lee, 710 ESPN.
Is Masters Week, and Al and I are giving you a chance to win the ultimate golf and spa luxury experience to Pacific Palms Resort. Here's how you can win. Caller number 7 wins a $50 gift card to Red Restaurant and qualifies for the grand prize, which is a 2-night stay at Pacific Palms Resort, 2 rounds of golf, 2 spa treatments, and dinner at the Red Restaurant. That's at Pacific Palms Resort, LA's Hilltop Hideaway and #1 work and play resort. Book your next getaway at PacificPalmsResort.com. 877-710 ESPN.
All of it, John Ireland, Michael Thompson, your flagship radio station for Lakers basketball, 710 ESPN. Don't touch the button, yo, not today. We're going to get you ready as the Lakers' final push to the playoffs. 3 games left, and tonight, a must-win against Little Brother. Let's keep it rolling. Travis and Sliwa continues right now.
Looking over your shoulder here, Slee, they've got Dan Hurley on from UConn. They just showing some video of all the players streaming into the arena back at UConn, kind of having a little pep rally after they got it done. That San Diego State got that close to being able to do that. It's crazy. Like they just won. They got beat. UConn was better than they were, but just that they were that close to it. I've seen all those pictures coming out of San Diego with people taking to the streets and throwing parties, people climbing over fences to get into Viejas. So close to a title. And look, it's San Diego State. Probably won't get a look like that ever again, but literally, what did they go, like 8 minutes where they couldn't get the ball in the basket?
I know. No, longer than that. I think it was 10, 11 minutes. Couldn't get a field goal at least. It's interesting because I think the program has, over the last 10, 15 years, been a solid program. But look how many things you got to get to go your way to get there. They had Charleston in the first round. Virginia loses. Now they have Furman. They did play Alabama. Alabama was a lot of youngsters, and you kind of faced a really good team, but they're very inexperienced. You got Creighton in the Elite Eight. You got FAU in the Final Four. Sometimes you had to win. You won 2 games by a total of 2 points. Elite Eight and Final Four. Sometimes you just got to get things to just go your way, and it went their way. It's not listen, we know this, right? The brand of basketball is muddy the water, make it as ugly as possible, make it defensive.
UConn kept making shots.
And hit free throws, and we're good on defense. And they had a 7-2 guy that just sat in the middle and was just made everything really difficult. What the hope is that this run will make some of those players, maybe dudes just out of San Diego, California, that are like, hey, I'll go play for that program, and now you got some real NBA talent. It's happened before, like Kawhi Leonard, Malachi Flynn. There's been players that are in the league today that came from San Diego State, but what State didn't have is I could go get you a bucket at any time. They didn't have one of those guys. So
yeah, but college basketball isn't those bunch of NBA guys. It's like you look at the 2 teams that are there. They're guys that have been around a while. Guys that have played, maybe not all on the same team, but guys that have been in college basketball for a long time. I can't wait till the next Final Four. That's about when I'll plug back in all over again.
It is kind of crazy, and you'll know this because when you talk about Santa Barbara getting to the World Series, the College World Series, I'm sure for most people who are just casual fans, it's just, okay, another tournament and all that. But damn, to have your team in it, every single day became important. Now you're watching what the other teams are doing. It was a cool run.
What's up with your boy Machado? Why is he getting ejected in the first inning of games?
Did you see it? Did you actually see it?
I did.
Yeah, what bothers me about that is, and he said it post-game, he just basically said, look, I took myself out of a game.
Yeah.
I took myself out of the game in the first inning.
Yeah.
I'm glad he mentioned it. I guess he tried to call a timeout, and whether the ump didn't see it, whatever the case, you got to be in the box by 8 seconds left or something along those lines. Not a good moment for him. And Padres gave up a lead yesterday that they had on Darvish's first night.
Here's the sound of it, and I'll give you my thoughts on this after, because the getting kicked out of the whole game is one thing, but there's something else going on that I think we do need to keep our eye on.
That's a strikeout. There's a violation. Ron Culpa just rung up Manny Machado. We're on the clock here this year, and that's an automatic strike, and it happens to be strike 3. Here comes Bob Melvin. Ron Culpa, the crew chief, behind the plate. And somebody's been ejected. Looks like Machado.
All right, so Machado's in the batter's box. He says he requested time prior to the 8-second kind of drop dead time.
Yeah.
The umpire said no, so he stepped out of the box. He assessed him a strike. Strike 3, he's out. It's the first inning of the game. You cannot get kicked out of a game in the first inning. That's just bad leadership. And the Padres are going to need somebody to kind of be the adult in the room. That's not what the adult in the room does. We'll come back to that in a second. Here's some. I love the pitch clock. Last night's Dodger game was going to come in at like 2 hours and 12 minutes until the last inning got a little slower because Bickford gave up some hits and stuff. But the clock is awesome. I'm not criticizing the clock. I like it.
Too fast?
No. the umpires need to have a little bit of grace with some of this stuff. If the rule is you have to ask for timeout before 8 seconds, and the guy asks at 7, give him the damn timeout, right? This doesn't have to be black and white letter of the law stuff. And what you do is you grant him the timeout, and then you say to him, listen, man, you're past the line. Let's be a little more careful. And if it happens again, I'm not going to give it to you.
That sounds reasonable.
You don't have to dime the guy out in the first inning of a game. If this is constantly happening and he's doing it over and over again, then you bang. Because, look, I bet you it doesn't happen a whole lot. I think that the message is probably learned. But there does come a time where I don't want games to be decided because of
1.2 seconds.
We're half of a second behind when we're supposed to do it. Have a little common sense. Have a little grace. Have a little, hey, Manny, that was late. I'm giving it to you. But just so you know, we're not doing that again. And I think that Manny Machado's been in the big leagues a long time. He knows how to talk to umpires. He knows how not to talk to umpires.
Mm-hmm.
And he called him a D-bag is why he got kicked out of the game. Is that it wasn't just that he was arguing. That's what he said.
You could tell something was said.
Yeah, it's a bad look for him. It's a bad look for the Padres. But I do think the umpires need to be a little bit more flexible in how they enforce. And both ways, by the way. If the pitcher is a little tardy or something, if it's close enough, I think we can let it go for the most part until it becomes habit, and then you got to start dropping the hammer again.
Okay, so this is going to be the question. Usually, anytime there's rule changes, they're a lot stronger in the beginning of it because they want you to learn. So I'll use the NBA as an example. There was a time, do you remember when a ball would go through the hoop, the opposing team can't touch it? Even if the team that just scored, they can't even take the ball and throw it to the referee and say, hey, here's the ball. The ball's just sitting there. They'd call you for a delay of game. They did it a lot in the beginning. Ticky-tack fouls. They would find ways to just, in the beginning of the season, this is what we're enforcing. We want you to know that. But as the season progressed, it got a little bit more lax. It wasn't like the world was going to end. I hope that's what happens in baseball. But the question I have with the pitch clock and everything else, is it treated like a shot clock? Because if it's treated like a shot clock, there is no, hey, guys, he just got the 24-second shot clock just happened. No, they're looking at it to a T. I don't want that to be the case in Major League Baseball, but what happens if somebody enforces it that way, somebody else doesn't enforce it that way?
It's a good point.
There has to be one way of doing it.
There does. There does need to be one way of doing it. There does need to be a number, and I do think if we enforce it, to your point, aggressively early, that's fine. Somebody bought a ticket to the Padres yesterday. Manny Machado got kicked out in the first inning for no good reason.
Oh, yeah.
That's bad for business. It's bad. And you need to let people know. Give the pitcher a little grace. I'm not saying if they're going over and over, then we got to get back on track, guys. We're doing this. But if Manny Machado needs a timeout at 7 seconds instead of 8, give it to him. And then tell him, hey, listen, man, that was late. I can't give that to you every time. I'm giving you one, but let's go. Let's get back in there and let's do this thing.
Machado didn't help himself, but I think Machado was exactly thinking what you're are you really calling a strike 3 right here in the first inning? Because I didn't have my hand. I should have had my hand up a half a second earlier. He didn't help himself, but I would lean more towards let's let these guys play. Mission accomplished.
Yeah.
If the goal was to speed up the game, you're speeding up the game. If the goal was to make the game more exciting because it's fast paced, mission accomplished.
It's worked great. And like I said, I am not saying get rid of it. I love it. Back to the other issue.
Okay.
Have the Padres played 6 games too?
They play 6, 3-3.
So the Padres have played 6 games. So I am not going to sit here and tell you that this is an example of something that's going to take place over the course of the next 156 games.
Mm-hmm.
The one question I have for the Padres isn't do they have enough good players? They do. Do they have experience? Actually, they do from what they've been through. It's will they buckle under the expectations of what's expected of them this season? Will they have somebody in their clubhouse that knows how to navigate their way through this and help maybe some guys that don't have as much experience doing it? Manny Machado is the name that would come to mind. He's been in the big leagues a long time.
He was that player for them last year.
He's a multiple-time All-Star.
Yep.
He's really, really good, and he's their best player. They got other really good players. Soto might, but you need somebody to go, guys, we're okay. If he's this tightly wound over a clock violation in game number 6, it's like, what's it going to be like when they lose 5 in a row in August and the Dodgers and Padres are neck and neck for a division title? The loser has to go into that wild card nonsense. If this kind of thing is setting you off, What happens then? I understand we got 6 months to go before we get there, but it's not a positive indication if you're a Padre fan.
So, first off, on the Padres, they have not played well. They haven't. They're 3-3. We were talking about the run differential. Dodgers are plus 25. Padres are minus 3.
Yeah.
They played the same team, Rockies and Diamondbacks. It's the same exact setup that the Dodgers have had so far. They got lucky winning a couple nights ago. They hit 2 back-to-back homers to win it. Ha-Sung Kim hits the final one. They walk off. They got lucky in that game. You're not wrong what you're saying, but I've seen enough from Manny Machado the last couple of years. Whether you think that's the right leader to have, he's been a good leader for the Padres. I'm not saying over his entire career. I know his
Johnny Hustle?
his time with the Dodgers. And if it's not him, I think part of the reason why they went out, I'm not telling you go like the contract, but Xander Bogaerts, they
got lots of good players.
But I think he's also it seems like good clubhouse guy. Came from a great franchise, won a couple World Series. He might be that guy that's a perfect balance, too, of a leader.
I'm curious what it looks like when 2 months into the season, you're 3 games over 500.
I agree.
And it's just like, wait, this is not what we signed up for. Now, they may be 25 games over 500. It's like it's not a problem at all. But the expectation game will be a thing. And so it might happen until the playoffs, where Game 1 of the NLDS, it's like, yeah, you're supposed to win. We're in Petco Park. Mm-hmm. You did win the division. You did win your 102 games or whatever it is. Now go do it, and now you lose the opener. Now what happens? That could happen then. It could happen tomorrow.
They haven't been in that spot, and that's what I think there is a curiosity of. When they played the New York Mets in that wild card 3-game set,
mm-hmm.
it was in New York.
Mm-hmm.
Pressure was on the Mets, not the Padres. When they played the Dodgers, the pressure was on the Dodgers, not the Padres. There are real expectations on the Padres, and we do not know how this team will react to that pressure.
Factor Cap coming up next. It's Trav and Slee, 710 ESPN.
Is Masters Week, and Al and I are giving you a chance to win the ultimate golf and spa luxury experience to Pacific Palms Resort. Here's how you can win. Caller number 7 wins a $50 gift card to Red Restaurant and qualifies for the grand prize, which is a 2-night stay at Pacific Palms Resort, 2 rounds of golf, 2 spa treatments, and dinner at the Red Restaurant. That's at Pacific Palms Resort, LA's Hilltop Hideaway and #1 work and play resort. Book your next getaway at PacificPalmsResort.com. 877-710-ESPN.
For Factor Cap.
Oh, that's Cap. That's so Cap, Dad.
Everything I've said is a cap, but I'm going to go back.
First of all, it's not a cap.
It is a cap.
Welcome to Factor Cap.
Hey, guys. ...
You beat me to it.
Ominous?
I was.
feel passive aggressive over here.
I was gonna give you an ellipses in one of my answers, but no, I can't. Good job.
All right, so one of your podcasts is coming back for a new season starting today. So this podcast is called Normal Gossip, and it's a podcast where people can send in anonymous morsels of gossip, and it's fun to listen to because you're not involved.
Famous people or just
no,
randoms?
It's not. It's just random people, but they're really interesting stories.
Okay.
So they're like random stories, and like, oh wait, when you hear like some good gossip, you're like, oh, I'm gonna listen in, and you have nothing to do with it, and it's great. So you would consider yourself a gossip, Travis, Patrick Cap?
I think that's probably a fact. I like a little dirt as much as the next guy. I like to know which way the wind is blowing, or this person got in trouble with that person, or whatever it might be. Yeah, I think that's human nature, right? Like we all kind of want to know things that we're not supposed to know, or maybe things that don't. The greatest way to get somebody to pay attention, when you're saying, "Hey, don't tell anybody I said this," but. Right? Then all of a sudden your ears perk up. It's
like this is between us, right?
Right.
Yeah.
This is between you and me. Yeah, I mean, I'm not the one running around telling everybody everything, but I like to hear it for sure.
All right, Al?
More Cap for me on this one. I'm okay without the gossip. I don't need there is a little bit of like you throw that hook out. If somebody does say, I want to tell you this, but I just can't. It's like, gosh dang it. Don't set that up. Now I want to know what the hell's going on.
Sure.
But I don't also see myself, the moment I turn a corner saying, gossiping to somebody else about somebody else. So, Cap for me.
Taylor?
Cap. I don't do it a lot. I grew up in a real small town, about 3,000 people, and they're notorious for gossip and stuff gets around. So that got old really fast.
Like what kind of gossip would go around? Like somebody was...
affairs, stuff like that.
Okay, I kind of dig that.
Okay.
I'd kind of like to know
bring it
about
up that way. I mean, might as well just give us more details.
Kleptomaniacs.
People stealing from each other, that kind of thing.
I like these.
Drug use.
Yeah. That's not cool.
So, today I have like one friend back in that town, so I'll ask him what's going on, but that's pretty much it.
And does he know, is he plugged into everything?
Yeah, he's got everything.
Yes, scuttlebutt.
Yeah. Emily, you strike me as somebody that would be very much into hearing the spilling the tea, as Kelly likes to say.
No, I love some gossip. I love juicy morsels. Most likely, I like it when I'm not involved with these people at all. Again, if it's just an interesting story with people I have no idea
just
about.
a random story, yeah.
I like that a lot. I don't like to talk poorly about other people that I have to interact with on
but that's not really gossip. That's being a bad guy.
Yeah, that's being mean.
Right.
And I tend to like to have, oh, did you know that so-and-so made out with so-and-so at this party? That's always fun. But all of our answers, I think, are very on brand. I could have told us what we were going to say before we actually said it. But, all right, so I've been rewatching the show Girls on HBO. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but I love the show. And it's all about women in their 20s, and it's a fictional show. But it got me thinking, if you had the chance, you would go back and do your 20s all over again if you were given the chance. Alan? Patrick Cap?
Fact, definitely. I think a long time ago we talked about, I think we brought up something about what age would you want to be? If you go back to any age, what age would you want to be? Doesn't have to be 20, but if I could go back just knowing what you know today, we always had that conversation. I think it's fascinating. I would take it in a heartbeat.
Are we time traveling? Do I have my same brain, or are we just doing it different?
Just doing it different.
Yeah, that's the thing that I think is so interesting, because I would 100% want to do it again for no other reason than I've only known one thing almost my entire adult life, right? I've been in one relationship. I've been married once. I've had my family for the vast majority of my adult life, right? I just know that lane, and that's where it's been. To go to a different city, to have a different job, to live a different type of life, to go and do all of those different things, to be single for a long period. Like, I have no idea what that's like. I'm thrilled with the way my life has turned out. I'm incredibly happy. But
it's the intrigue of what if I did this?
I've never done any of
what
those
if I
things.
did that?
I've been in LA/Southern California. I'm 51 years old. I've been here for 46 of
Except
those
for
years.
Houston.
Houston and a little bit of Phoenix. You can have the Houston part. Phoenix is okay. But yeah, I would absolutely like to go run it back.
I also think about the time and your emotional state in your 20s. You have no idea what's going on. You have no idea what you want to do. You have so much in front of you, but everything's also weighing on you.
Yeah.
Everything's really big.
You know
so
what
that's
else
why
is?
I don't think about it.
You're really only responsible to yourself too, which doesn't last very long. That doesn't last very long.
Taylor?
I think fact, yeah. I'd want to redo it, but I wouldn't do anything differently necessarily. I would just,
do it again?
Relive it, yeah. Some good times.
All right. So,
for instance, like one particular 20 story from Taylor Swift's 20s that you would like to run it back.
Oh man, I don't know if that's going to be PG enough for
on air here. Take some creative editing and put it together.
Get back to me.
We'll come back to you.
Okay. All right. So there's a sketch this weekend on SNL. It's kind of like one of their like video sketches that is making fun of documentaries, and one of them was about the fear of being a bridesmaid, of like the weight of being a bridesmaid, that you have to do all these things, you have to spend all this money, you have a dress you'll never use again. And so I've only been a bridesmaid once, and it was when I was a lot younger. But you're okay if you never if you're never a groomsman ever again. Taylor, Dr. Cap.
Cap, I'd like to do it for some of my good friends that have yet to be married. I think I'd enjoy that. Giving them a hard time.
Travis?
I think women have it entirely different in this regard than men do. Like,
absolutely.
Everything that you just said, with the pressure that comes along with it, the servicing of the bride and making sure that all of her needs are met, et cetera, and everything that you have to rent the dress or buy the dress and all these things. Guys, you go and rent a tuxedo and you go get drunk a few times and then you stand there for an hour. There's really nothing to it. I've stood up at, I don't know, at least 10 different weddings, right? And it's always fun. And again, I'm a sucker for weddings, so I'm a little bit biased in these things. But there's nothing to do. You just make sure, can I get you a beer? You show up at the parties, you mingle with the people, you tell a funny story at the party. That's really all you have to do as a guy. You don't have a ton of responsibilities. So, yeah, I would love to. All of my friends have kind of aged out of this stuff at this point. But, yeah, hell yeah, I would love to do it.
All right, Al?
Definitely fact, I'm okay if I'm never a groomsman again. I think that was probably by like 30. Was in enough weddings, was a groomsman, was a best man. And it's kind of like, all right, that I know what that is. That was all good. I got no problem never being involved in that again. I think the wedding portion of it, it's not that there's a ton of pressure, I think, on our side of it, but there's also kind of the nice, I just got to go to the wedding. I don't really have to do anything else. So I'm good without having to do it again.
All right, so this morning there was an article in the New York Times called Let's Discuss, it's time to address the Emily in the room. So it's all about like how there's a rise of the name Emily in popular culture now, because a lot more women that are named Emily are the ones that are writing things. It's more in the ether because in my generation it was a very, very popular name, starting in like the 90s and throughout the early 2000s. But I was at this burger joint the other day, and I was like, they asked for the name, and I was like, oh yeah, it's Emily. And then I got my order, and on it said it was spelled Emaly, and I was like, this is
Emaly?
Yeah, essentially, which is like, I understand.
Hey, Emaly.
I understand, but like Emily's a very common name. It's really it's weird to mess it up. So when someone misspells your name, it throws you off. Travis, Dr. Cap.
I don't think it's happened to me very often. There aren't a lot of alternate spellings to my name, but E's. Yeah, there'd have to be Treves. Travis.
Yeah.
That'd be one way to do it. It doesn't. No, because look, so often people aren't paying attention. They don't care. There could be they're operating in their second or third language. It could be a power move.
Starbucks order where you're just moving along.
Well, with the app, it prints it.
But
right
it would
out.
throw you off, right? It's like a little. Oh, okay.
No, not really. Not really. But I do want to say this: with you're saying there's a lot of Emily's kind of in the universe right now. If you went to high school in California, in my neighborhood, from somewhere between the early to the end of the 80s, you were either named Michelle, Jennifer, or Heather. There are like 68 of those at my high school, all three of them. That's all there were. Michelle's, Jennifer's, Heather's. So that you're having a moment with Emily does not surprise me.
Alan?
So it happens a lot. I get ALAN. I spell it ALLEN. I don't know if it's more common that way, this way. I have no idea. I don't really pay any attention to it. I will say that it's asked, and when you go to a coffee shop, something like that. Hey, we're just going to get your order out. How do you spell Allen? And ALLEN. But it doesn't. Whether they need to ask me or they don't need to ask me, you spell it any way you want. As long as I know it's coming to me and it's my order. It doesn't.
What if there's an ellipsis on your cup? Then what?
Then I give
throw the coffee in their face.
I give a bigger tip. I give a bigger tip.
It's also especially interesting for me because my first name is so common, my last name is so uncommon that it throws me off with Emily, So, but
Molly.
All right, Taylor.
Cap. No, it doesn't throw me off. I mean, I get Tyler a lot. People will just spell that out or call me the wrong name, but it doesn't bother me that much.
Mace wanted to weigh in that his first love was Emily Weber at, I don't know how to say that, high school. So Emily Weber was his first love. So
In Toledo?
I'm assuming.
West Toledo High?
Right.
I don't know, right.
All right, one last one for you guys.
He was east.
The Cubs have been notorious for breaking up cup snakes. So for those who don't know what a cup snake is, it's when people have their empty beers and they stack them up on each other and they hold it up in the stands and it forms a really long snake. So they
It's
have
one at the national championship game.
Was there?
Very impressive.
super fun.
An Aztec.
Yeah. So anyway, to combat that, they have now introduced the baseball bat beer can, so that you can just drink out of the baseball bat, and it's people want to buy it, but less of those plastic cups the same size. So cup snakes are harmless. Alan, fact or cap?
Fact, I always get confused when there's certain things, let's use as an example, and I don't know if it's still popular today, but you got like the beach ball at a game, right? It used to happen all the time in San Diego. They just get the beach ball going, everybody's hitting around. It's harmless. It really, truly is harmless. It's kind of fun for the crowd, everything else. I get, okay, if it gets on the field, now you got to stop play. What is wrong with having the cup snake or whatever it's called? I don't see any problem with it. I think it's actually kind of funny. All of a sudden, you got other people engaged. It seems harmless to me.
What is the objection? Why do they want? Because people that are not participating don't want drippy beer cups over their head. Is that the objection?
And that they're not throwing it in the trash.
Yeah.
They're keeping it together. That people will leave them all over the place.
It's kind of harmless. I don't think it's a big deal. My bigger problem is with those baseball bat beers that they have for the Cubs games at Wrigley Field. Okay, can we just agree that any sort of novelty drinking device is stupid and unnecessary? Where are you supposed to put that thing? When I want to eat a few peanuts, where am I supposed to put my baseball shot?
Between your legs.
No, it's too big. It'll be in the front of my face, right? Like, it doesn't fit in the cup holder. It doesn't fit under your seat. There's nowhere to put it. It's the barrel or the knob of the bat looked like it was rounded. It's the least convenient thing in the world. Just give me a 16-ounce cup or a can and keep it moving.
All right, Taylor.
Fact, yeah, I think it's harmless, and it makes it easier for whoever's picking it up. I mean, all the beer cans or the
already
beer
stacked for you.
Yeah, it's perfect.
What do you need in life?
I'm going with Mommy High School. Mamea. Mason's first love was Emily Weber at Maumee, something like that. That is
we
a
can
hard
ask
one
in
to say.
crosstalk.
Yeah, maybe he's getting triggered right now because we got his high school wrong. So apologies to Emily Weber along the way. Got some good tweets coming up next. Plus, Western Conference playoff matchups not set, but you can see it from here. It's coming up next. It's Travis Lee, 710 ESPN.
Is Masters Week, and Al and I are giving you a chance to win the ultimate golf and spa luxury experience to Pacific Palms Resort. Here's how you can win. Caller number 7 wins a $50 gift card to Red Restaurant and qualifies for the grand prize, which is a 2-night stay at Pacific Palms Resort, 2 rounds of golf, 2 spa treatments, and dinner at the Red Restaurant. That's at Pacific Palms Resort, LA's Hilltop Hideaway and #1 work and play resort. Book your next getaway at PacificPalmsResort.com. 877-710-ESPN.
Clippers tonight at Crypto.com Arena, and it's meaningful. First meaningful game between these guys in quite some time. We'll get back to that in just one second. Where the Clippers, where the Lakers are going to land in the Western Conference playoff picture coming up in just one sec. I want to read this from Starfish and Coffee, who is a regular on the Trav and Sliwa show. The Dodgers have too many good outfielders. It makes me wonder why they kept Cody Bellinger around for so long. The best Dodger outfield is Peralta, Outman, and Betts. Trade someone. They will. This is what they've done incredibly well, is that they have found areas where they can have a surplus of talent and trade it for things where they don't. This is what they're excellent at, whether it's in the minor leagues, whether it's at the major league level, whether it's at one particular position. They have Betts, Outman, Hayward, Trace, Taylor, and Peralta. They got 6 guys that can play the outfield and all play it pretty well. There's only 3 places you can put those guys. They're going to flip somebody. We'll see how Miguel Rojas does it short. We'll see how Vargas does. Maybe Outman kind of fade. Whatever it is, this is what they do. They have too much of one thing because they know somebody else is going to need it, and they can trade it for what they need.
It's a good strategy, too, to kind of wait a little bit. I think you and I have talked about it. Can we let this marinate a little bit? Can we give them a couple of months to see what they have? Maybe, Trav, in a couple of months, there's some players that they didn't think would be that productive. Some of these youngsters are like, this guy ain't going anywhere. Keeping this player, he's going to be an everyday part of the rotation. Maybe there's guys that just aren't, living up to their expectations. But that's the one thing that I think the Dodgers not going crazy in the offseason. The Lux thing happens in the middle, right in the beginning of spring training. That obviously throws everything off. Give them a second. And if they're playing right now, scoring runs has not been an issue. I know you could say, well, there's 2 games they scored 1 run. I get that, but go look at it's going to average itself out. Scoring runs is not an issue. Their starting rotations look really good. At some point, Tony Gonsolin's going to come back. Let's see where they are 30 days from now.
Yeah,
see where they are 60 days from now.
That's the number that I think is really interesting because, look, let's say James Outman continues to be – I don't want to say that he looks like this where he's getting multiple triples in every game, but he looks like he's an everyday major league player. Okay? Jason Hayward continues to look like a guy that he was, which is a very dangerous – he can hit home runs. He plays high-level defense. He's a very useful player. Where it gets interesting all of a sudden, Mookie's going to be in the outfield every night or in the lineup every night.
When he doesn't tell the Dodgers he wants to play second.
Right. This means that there are limited opportunities for Trace Thompson. This means there are limited opportunities for Peralta. That this is where, like, if you're one of those 2 guys, you're looking at the landscape saying, this kid, Taylor's not going anywhere because he plays the infield too, right? So he's good. He's not going anywhere. But Peralta and Thompson in that extra little outfield spot, if Outman really locks one down and Jason Hayward looks like the player that he's looked in his career, that's 2 guys for 1 spot. Right? They're going to have that 5th outfielder. You don't necessarily, if you need a shortstop, you need a bullpen guy, a back. This is where it gets good. You're looking around, and especially Peralta and Trace have been around the big leagues a long time. They know that numbers game gets really super narrow if the younger player is playing at a high level.
And what could happen, too, is in 30 and 60 days, guys that got off to a hot start are not playing good. And that could kind of play itself out as well.
Trace hitting 3 home runs helps. That's good. That's just a nice way to kind of give yourself a little breathing room. Just kind of.
Was it 8 RBIs? Was it 8 RBIs in that game?
Right.
Something like that?
Sounds right. 3 home runs in one night's pretty good. I always remind, anytime a Dodger starts stacking up like a bunch of hits in one game, especially extra base hits, Sean Green had 4 home runs and a double in a game, I want to say, for the Dodgers a few years ago. Like, it was some crazy, I think he drove in 9 or 10 runs, had like 16 or 17 total bases. It's not a bad deal. Not a bad deal. All right. Lakers and Clippers tonight at Crypto. Lakers win. I'm looking at this on the screen right now. If the Lakers win tonight, by the end of the night, they'll be in the 5th hole. That's where they will be.
Tiebreaker on the Warriors.
Tiebreaker on the Warriors.
Gain 1 game on the Clippers.
Jump ahead of the Clippers right now. That's a pretty good spot to be. Let's put aside for the fact that would put them in the first round against the Phoenix Suns, which, whatever. If that's what it is, that's what it is.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
And by the way, post-game, this came up as a conversation. A lot of Laker fans were like, okay, what are you going to do? What are you going to try to – no, let's lose this game so then we could fall there. If the cards fall there, then wouldn't you say it's better to face the Phoenix Suns early on? If hypothetically speaking, if they get to the Western Conference Finals, that means they had more time to play with each other. That means they're figuring some stuff out. It's not like KD's been there for 2 years. He hasn't. If it happens to be the Suns, okay, not a perfect scenario, but let's see what happens.
Yeah, I don't know if it makes much of a difference. Yes, if they play them in the conference finals, it means that they're playing well, but so are you, right? If the Lakers get to the Western, okay, yeah, you're playing well, yeah, so are we. We didn't get a bye into the Western Conference Finals. I think that's one part of it. The other part of it is, do you play these guys tonight because of that? Because you want to send a message, air quote, because you need to beat them to just kind of get that monkey off your back? Or, look, we're in the play-in. We're gonna have an opportunity to play a series. Do not risk LeBron's health. Do not risk Anthony Davis's health. We'll see what happens with D'Angelo Russell, who's been in and out of the lineup as well. Because it's the second night of a back-to-back at the end of a very long 5-game road trip, do you just kind of say, listen, if we can win, great, we'll find, but we are not going to even remotely push this even 1% to try to make the statement that we're talking about?
I don't think tonight is a statement game.
I don't either.
Let me tell you what a statement game is. Statement game is Paul George is there. The Lakers are – this game could be the difference of from a what's most important for tonight, what's most important for me tonight is the standings less than the Clippers.
Yes.
If they were not playing the Clippers and they're playing pick any team you want in the NBA, I would still tell you that it's more important because they have an opportunity to get 1 week off. I want the 5-6 days off. That's the only thing I'm paying attention to. If they beat the Clippers tonight, what that means is your chances of resting on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and at the earliest playing on Saturday is beneficial to the Lakers.
So why don't they play? Why wouldn't you expect both AD and LeBron to play? So if they play and they win this game, then they get that rest.
So the conversation was not about those guys playing. People are trying to make it play them because it's the Clippers.
Yeah.
My point is that it's not about the Clippers. It's about Anthony Davis, LeBron. If they play tonight, that tells you that those two players are healthy enough to play. If they don't play tonight, then it's simply saying, guys, there's just enough risk there that we don't want to take that risk.
Anthony Davis played back-to-back games once this season. It was back in November. Okay, November was a long time ago. He's played in one back-to-back. There was an incredibly important back-to-back, 10 days ago in Houston?
Yeah, they beat the Pelicans, blew them out, and then Houston.
And he didn't play in that one, and that's when you were still, are you even going to get in or not? And they opted not to do it. I think that all indications are he will not play tonight just because he doesn't play in back-to-backs. LeBron, I don't know, but I kind of come at it like this. If you're not going to play AD, or even flip it the other way, it doesn't matter. If one's not going to play, I'm not playing the other one. I understand what you're talking about with the rest. I understand, and it's important, it's fine. But I think their health is because tonight's the last one. After this, you're going to get, worst case, you're going to play every other day.
Yep.
Right? You're going to have some time. You're going to have the time that hopefully you need. It would be nice to have the 4 days off like you're talking about, but not at the expense of maybe not having them at all.
Hypothetically, just what you
really
said,
cautious.
and we could do this, coming back. Let's say they give AD the complete green light, but LeBron's not playing. LeBron is, hey, a little bit of soreness here. I'm going to wait till Friday. I play AD. If they give AD the complete green light, hey, you're good. Go ahead. Do what you got to do. Even if Bron is not there, or flip it the opposite way, I'd play. If they get the green light, I think they should play.
And then, of course, there's D'Angelo Russell. Does he play? Does he not play? And he's been out of the lineup a lot, and we've really kind of not spent nearly as much time on that. That's next. It's Travis Lee, 710.
Is Masters Week, and Al and I are giving you a chance to win the ultimate golf and spa luxury experience to Pacific Palms Resort. Here's how you can win. Caller number 7 wins a $50 gift card to Red Restaurant and qualifies for the grand prize, which is a 2-night stay at Pacific Palms Resort, 2 rounds of golf, 2 spa treatments, and dinner at the Red Restaurant. That's at Pacific Palms Resort, LA's Hilltop Hideaway and #1 work and play resort. Book your next getaway at PacificPalmsResort.com. 877-710-ESPN.
go. Travis Rogers, Alan Sliwa. Travis and Sliwa is on for your Wednesday. We're here each weekday, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. We begin 9 hours of LA sports talk all day long. Happy Wednesday. Travis is back. Sweet T-Raj, from his day off yesterday for his son Michael's baseball game or whatever came up. And Sweet's feeling good. We're all feeling good after the Lakers slip by the Jazz last night.
The clock expires, and the Lakers win it in overtime. 135-133. What a fortunate moment we find ourselves in. The Lakers have won 4 in a row on the road.
It is a playoff destiny Wednesday. What does that mean? Tonight at Crypto.com, the battle against Little Brother. And no matter what John Ireland or anybody else will tell you, tonight is a must-win to beat down Little Brother and control our playoff destiny. 3 games left in the regular season. The Lakers sit at the 7. They want to move up, yo. The 6, the 5, who knows? We're all over it. Do not touch the button, yo. Not today. Keep coming back all day long. Especially with Travis and Sliwa, which begins for your Wednesday right now.
Yeah. Little dynasty theme in the background right there. I haven't heard that since, 1986 or 7?
81 is when it came out.
The Carringtons. Yeah, I think it probably lasted maybe 10 years. There was Joan Collins was in it. There was Linda Evans. Very, very dramatically. Very dramatic.
Well, I got to go back and watch it?
I think you could skip it. This is not one of those things.
Slee's late for the pregame. What happened? He was catching up on
Dynasty from 1983.
On VHS.
Yeah, it's got to be streaming somewhere, right? Everything's got to be streaming
Everything is streaming
it feels
somewhere.
Like it. I needed your opinion on something here.
Okay.
I was off yesterday to go watch the boy play a little baseball. He does have another game today. It is down in San Diego, but the game is not until 4 o'clock.
Okay.
He
what
may
part
or
of
he
SD?
may not play. Huh?
What part of SD?
Kind of where I was yesterday.
Okay, so North County.
North County,
yeah.
kind of, but not super North County like Carlsbad, but down by like Scripps Ranch area.
Yeah.
Down there.
Northeast.
He may play, he may not play. Don't really know.
Okay.
Do I jump in this at 1:13, jump in the car, and start making my way down there? Or do I just say, I don't think I'm going to maybe, air quotes, not make it in time? It's a long way to go.
I think you go. You'll get there. You got about a 2.5-hour cushion, which I think is about right. You're going to hit some traffic, but you're going to hit traffic towards the end of your drive. I think less from that 1:30 to 3, you're going to be okay. The 3 to 4 is where it's going to be an issue. Nice little area of San Diego right there. When you're done with the game, you and Michael could go grab some food together or something along those lines.
Sit there and not talk to me and just stare out the window.
Yeah, but he'll eat.
I offered yesterday. I had 3 kids in the car yesterday. Taking 3 kids back from this game. I said, and I remember when Cates was incredibly generous, hooked us up with all those in-and-out cards.
Yeah.
I still have a good chunk of them. Like, guys, you guys want to go grab some in-and-out? No. I'm like, wait, what? Really?
That's odd.
They lost, but okay, whatever. They've lost quite a few this year.
They lost their appetite.
Let's drown our sorrows in a little doubles.
I think you should do it.
I think I'm going to. Greg had good advice. He's like, look, what if you don't go and he gets in? Then what? Then I'd feel terrible. So anyway, I'm probably going to go. We'll see.
I'm looking up here. I just want to make sure what time tonight.
Oh, he had a game on Friday.
Dodgers don't even play tonight. You're good.
The assistant principal at Mission Viejo High School is a huge fan of yours. So Michael had a game against the Diablos last week, and I'm standing there talking with some of the dads and get a little tap on the shoulder and says, "Are you?" So yeah, he goes, "Oh, I love your show." And then he just talked about you for 5 minutes. I'm like, this doesn't really do me very
Give
good
him my cell.
Like, I want to hear about me. I want to hear about how much you like my. He's talking about you eating the apple core on the original Last Slee. Yeah, he's a diehard.
Apple core is still there. Still, sometimes you got to
Still
make
your
that happen.
Regular habit.
Sometimes you got to make
Netflix,
it happen.
by the way.
It's on net. Is it really?
Yep, I just looked it up.
Smokey and the Bandit showed up on Netflix last night. Have you seen Smokey and the Bandit, Slee?
Mm-mm.
Now there's one you got to go back and rewatch. Burt Reynolds at the height of his powers.
You got to bring me that book. What's the book you said? The Survivor book?
Unbroken. I looked for it. I couldn't find it. I
Okay.
looked for it. You need to order it.
All right.
I must have given it to somebody else.
But I should read it, correct?
That you went from Smokey and the Bandit to that. Like, culturally speaking, there might not be two more polar opposite items.
But it was a suggestion of yours, and it just triggered that suggestion of the book.
Yeah, Unbroken. You'll like
All right,
that.
now I gotta
Smokey
do
and
it.
the Bandit has a Sally Fields in it. I'm just saying. And they're trying to get beer to Florida. There's really not even a plot. It's just cars really fast.
While
and
I'm
Burt
reading
Reynolds
the book,
and Sally
I'll have
Field.
that in the background.
It's a pretty good deal. Why doesn't D'Angelo Russell ever play? What's up with that? I thought he's going to be their best player, or their third best player.
Yeah.
I thought that he's going to be the guy that could carry the load on any night where LeBron and AD maybe aren't quite at their best. And he hasn't played very much. It's been Austin Reeves. It's been Dennis Schroeder.
Yeah.
It's been some other guys along the way. But Russell's availability has not been there. He's LeBron and AD have been far more available than D'Angelo Russell has.
So his ankle injury that he initially had, remember that was the first game from the All-Star break? That was a real ankle injury, and he needed the time to kind of get it back. And now dealing what he's dealing with, let me see what it says here. All right, I'm just trying to look to see if there was any update on today. Darvin said on Sunday, second half gets pulled out of the Rockets game. He's like, look, if we really needed him, he would have played. They played the Houston Rockets. They were up big. So I think it was just let's not take any chances here. I think most people thought going into the Jazz game yesterday, kind of similar, right? Jazz aren't playing any of their players. If we can give them an extra day of rest, let's give them an extra day of rest. But I don't really disagree with you on this. It's a big difference. If D'Angelo's in there, that means Dennis Schroeder is now coming off the bench. Means you actually have a weapon off the bench that can be your quarterback. If he's not in there, well, then you're putting all your bullets in that starting lineup, and then you're just kind of hoping who can contribute. You only got 3 games left. So I think if the Lakers were in a playoff game, he'd be playing these games. And because they're not in a playoff game, they're just being extra cautious on him. At the same token, we got 3 games left. So it'd be nice to just see these guys all playing together because you're going to walk in a week. You could be a week from today could be a playing tournament game, or if they win tonight, maybe they get a little bit of time off. But it's not like you have, hey, I know exactly what I have when all these guys play together. No, you don't, because they haven't played together.
That's the point for me that I think is the most important. They have not played a lot of basketball together.
Mm-hmm.
They really haven't. When they have, it's looked pretty good. But like you were saying with Kevin Durant a minute ago, to come back with the Suns and play some games, and the more they play together, presumably the better the fit's going to be, the more understanding they'll have of each other's roles. And
they
what
could
they
probably
like
say
and
the
don't
same
like.
thing about the Lakers.
For sure.
Yeah.
But D'Angelo Russell's very important to what they're trying to get done. He's not LeBron, he's not AD, but once you get past that, he's probably right near the top of the list. And I get it. He's a veteran. LeBron's a veteran. AD's a veteran.
But still, I'm with you on that.
Playing together matters.
I'm with you on that.
It does.
Yeah, and that's why I kind of go back to what I said earlier about whether LeBron or Anthony Davis don't play tonight, whether they do play tonight. I think a lot of it, if they're healthy, they will play. Now, D'Angelo, I just kind of contradicted myself because he could have played. Darvin Ham said he could have played in that second half if they really needed him to. They just didn't need him to. But for these final 3 games, hopefully they're all in there because there could be the timing, there could be the understanding each other's tendencies that's helpful for the playoff run.
In the putting the cart way ahead of the horse category, you look at some of these Western Conference matchups, and they're far from locked in because basically from 5 through 10, everything's pretty fluid at this point.
Sure.
But there really aren't any matchups that you look at and say, okay, that one is a no-brainer. It's going to go this way along. Like if you just take the chalk right now, okay, let's just assume that Minnesota and OKC get knocked out. They're the 9 and the 10.
Yep.
Okay. Probably won't shake out like that, but you open up New Orleans and Denver. Still no word on when Zion is headed back, but you know, New Orleans has been one of those teams that over the last since the Lakers kicked their ass, they've really kind of found another little gear along the way. That gets very interesting very quickly.
If Zion comes back, it could be. I think everybody would take Denver. The question is just going to be, would Zion be there?
Their head coach called him out yesterday. The Nuggets had Mark Malone called him out for being soft and going out like, I get what he's doing. We're about to get started. We're going to make sure everybody's bringing their best. But the Nuggets have not been terrible. They haven't been great. They've just kind of been spinning their wheels for a little while.
Yeah, they have.
And I get it.
They had such a cushion in the West that they definitely took their foot off the gas.
It doesn't happen in the basketball very often. But have you ever seen a 1 seed that feels more gettable than the Nuggets right now as far as beating them in a 7-game series? I don't think New Orleans will do it, or Minnesota will do it, even if the Lakers found themselves in that 8th spot. But
if I flipped it
open.
If I flipped it, Milwaukee would play Atlanta in the first round.
Not a chance.
So that's usually what a 1 seed. That's
what
usually,
it feels like.
That's usually what it's supposed to be when you're talking about a number 1 seed in the playoffs.
Look, depending on how the play-in plays out, the Warriors could be the 8. The Clippers could be the 8. The Lakers could be the 8. Depending on how all of these things happen, this could be not only a series where they could lose, it could be a series where they could be absolutely almost in a flat-footed tie coming into this thing. The Lakers, how they're playing right now, I don't know if I'm picking against them against anybody. To say that they're going to get to the finals, I don't know. A million things have to happen. But pick an opponent that they're going to play in the first round and say they have no chance. It doesn't exist.
No, the no chance does not exist.
It's
gone.
No
chance. You could say, hey, the toughest opponent would be the Phoenix Suns. I think Denver would be a really tough matchup as well. But there is no conversation out there where a month ago, I don't think we're saying the same thing. We're saying, guys, come on. LeBron's not even back. The guy just had his injury. We're not sure what this team is. Do they click? Do they not click? They're inconsistent. There's a lot of conversations, not just with the Lakers. I don't think you'd be surprised. Wiggins supposed to make his return. I don't think you'd be surprised if the Golden State Warriors got to the Western Conference Finals. I don't think you'd be surprised if Denver got there. I don't think you'd be surprised if Lakers got there. I don't think you'd be surprised if Suns got there. You could kind of rattle off a few teams here.
Lakers, Grizzlies in the first round if it goes chalk right now. Of all of the matchups, I think I like this one the least.
I was just going to say.
I think I like that the least, simply because they're young and they're going to fight like hell. They're incredibly energetic, and if it just comes down to a war of who's got better legs come Game 7, I don't know if the Grizzlies don't have an advantage there.
I'm glad you actually mentioned that, because Grizzlies get talked about the least, and it's fine. It's not like they're the sexiest team out there.
Least, or is that still Sacramento?
Still Sacramento. Sacramento, the only time I hear people talk about Sacramento, just to be completely honest, we want the Kings.
Yeah.
There is, hey, can we get to that 6th slot so we could play them? But Memphis is not being talked about. If Lakers played the Memphis in the first round, of course they can beat the Grizzlies. But of course the Grizzlies can beat the Lakers. That's a good first round matchup that'd be incredibly competitive. There is just enough youngster in them that they don't. That's part of their personality. I think it's part of their DNA.
Obviously, in this scenario, it would be in Memphis. Game 7 would be in Memphis. But what matters more, that freshness of the young legs, or LeBron James having been around the block 10 billion times and there's nothing he hasn't seen?
Yeah, I think
because he's not going to be. Let's go.
I think a Game 7 against any team that's never been there before, against a veteran team, against a team that has players that have had deep playoff runs, a guy like LeBron, I'll take the vets and the LeBron over the kids, over some of those youngsters.
You got the Clippers and the Kings potentially as well. Taylor, that we had that 175 to 174.
That'd be a fun series. Fun series.
Do you like it? Do you like that matchup for your Kings?
I like the Clippers matchup. Yeah, I like the Lakers too. I want all the smoke. Bring it on.
They might not have PG either in the first round, so you'd have that kind of flips. If Paul George isn't there, now it's a real series against Kings.
You want the smoke because of the fun, or because you think it's a good matchup for your squad?
I think the Kings can beat anybody in the West.
All right, if I'm looking at it from a Kings perspective, who they should want to play, I'd want to play the Clippers in the first round.
So would I. That's the most favorable to me.
If I'm the Clipper, or if I'm the Kings, I'd rather play the Clippers.
But I don't think any of these teams have had it together all season long. Besides, I mean, the Kings have had their starting 5 intact.
I was just going to say,
they've been very healthy. Teams, knock on wood.
Haven't the Kings been the most steady? They're not the best, but they haven't had a ton of injuries. They haven't had a bunch of drama.
Exactly what you're going to get.
They're
from them.
just
been
really
very fortunate in that regard.
What they are.
But that's okay. Being fortunate that's what a lot of sports kind of comes down to, is the team that was the healthiest.
Yeah. Do they need to win a round for you to feel good about the season, or you already got what you needed?
I want one round at least.
You got to get a
Come
round.
on.
I couldn't agree more. I'm glad you said that, by the way. I think if you're a Kings fan and you've been watching this team all year long, I know they haven't made the playoffs in how many years. They're the number 3 seed in the West. They've won how many games they end up winning? They could potentially get to 50. Potentially get to 50. I'm with you. They should winning a round would be a great success story for the Kings.
Yeah, at that number 3 seed, that feels like what it needs to be. Is there anybody in the West that the Lakers, or you should say that freaks you out about the Lakers? 877-710-ESPN. I said that terribly. I'm going to try that again. Take 2. Is there any matchup in the Western Conference as a Laker fan that scares you? That was much better. 877-710-ESPN.
I like the first one better.
Yeah, it wasn't very good. Jim Irsay also is making nonsense about the Rams. We're going to talk about him, too. That's coming up. It's Travis Lee, 710 ESPN. Is Masters Week, and Al and I are giving you a chance to win the ultimate golf and spa luxury experience to Pacific Palms Resort. Here's how you can win. Caller number 7 wins a $50 gift card to Red Restaurant and qualifies for the grand prize, which is a 2-night stay at Pacific Palms Resort, 2 rounds of golf, 2 spa treatments, and dinner at the Red Restaurant. That's at Pacific Palms Resort, LA's Hilltop Hideaway, and #1 work and play resort. Book your next getaway at PacificPalmsResort.com. 877-710-ESPN.
PM, hear all of it. John Ireland, Michael Thompson, your flagship radio station for Lakers basketball. 710 ESPN. Don't touch the button, yo, not today. We're going to get you ready as the Lakers' final push to the playoffs. 3 games left, and tonight, a must-win against little brother. Let's keep it rolling. Travis and Sliwa continues right now.
Jim Irsay is bothering me.
What do you do?
He's doing that thing that just kind of, generally speaking, in the universe drives me crazy, where you try to dump on someone else's thing without looking in your own backyard. Right? He was talking about the Rams and how they had a bad year last year and how they don't have their picks and blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
And
he's an analyst.
There was an article recently saying the Rams mortgaged their future and now they're paying for it after they won the Super Bowl and all that success with the draft picks not being there. To me, that's what you have to be careful about. Just so I have this right. What another NFL owner is saying
is you need to be careful not to win the Super Bowl and have 5 great years in a row, because then what? Do I have that right? That a guy that hasn't had a good team in I don't know how long is saying, you got to be careful about winning that Super Bowl or things could really get tricky after that. That's the most asinine thing I've heard in a very long time.
If you're trying to also say something, like if you're trying to position your organization as, look, we're in a good spot because we have all these draft picks, we got some younger players, and you're trying to use a franchise that just won a Super Bowl as an example, that's idiotic. Like, it really is just a stupid game plan. This reminds me a little bit of the Rockies owner saying, well, they're spending all this money, but who knows how it's going to work. They just went to the NLCS, right, and they're one of the favorites to go potentially win a World Series. Don't use them as the example. Find another team. Find a team that went out there, traded all their assets, and failed.
Right.
Find that as the example. Use that as the example of, and I use the comp in the NFL as a good. Let me throw the 49ers in there. 49ers gave up what they needed to. I don't think it was that much. Go get Christian McCaffrey, right? The Niners have not cashed one in, but you know what the Niners are doing? They're swinging. And they're at least trying to win.
Winning a bunch of games.
Winning a bunch of games.
Yeah.
They're getting to the NFC Championship game.
Twice.
They're on the – and they may never cash one in, but it wasn't because John Lynch, the president or general manager, didn't try to go cash one in. It's an idiotic comment to have. People think these through?
Obviously not. Now they're paying for it after they won the Super Bowl and had all that success. That's what you have to be careful about. Okay, sure. Yeah, don't go win that Super Bowl, because then what are you going to do? It's the dumbest thing I've heard.
Have one banner. What the heck?
Yeah, we only got one Super Bowl.
Don't go on that amazing vacation and take time off.
Crazy.
Because now you have a credit card bill. Yeah, I know that, but I got a vacation out of it.
Steve in Burbank. Steve, you're on with Trav and Slee. What's going on, Steve?
Hey, man, big fan, guys. Keep doing you guys. I would not want to play the Grizzlies. I sort of agree with you guys on that. I just feel sometimes we start slow, and they're explosive. Young guys, they start off pretty fast, and they build off momentum. And sometimes I hate watching the Lakers when we're playing catch-up the whole game. We might go on a run, but then that's already a loss, I feel like. I would not want to play that young, hungry team, because they went deep last year, and I feel like this is the year that they can make some noise as well.
So, Steve, appreciate you calling in. So I think a couple things. I think it's fun to have the conversation. I think it's fun to say, hey, how do you think the Lakers would match up if they play the Kings? How do you think they'd match up if it was the Phoenix Suns, Denver, Memphis? The reality is each one of these teams, whoever you play, it's going to be a dogfight, right? There's preferences and everything else. I think the good thing, the position that the Lakers are in right now is they actually have a chance to avoid the play-in tournament, which is important for me. I'd love for them to have that rest. I really would.
It is.
I think that's a key one. If it happens to go that way where they got in the play-in tournament because Memphis is number 2, and then you had to play a couple extra games, maybe just one extra game, and then you get Memphis in the first round, now you're flying out to Memphis, that'd be a challenge. It would be.
It's such a weird year. The Western Conference is...
I wouldn't be surprised if they beat them.
Everything about it is weird. There is no great team. There's a handful of good ones, but the teams at the bottom of the draw... I mean, bottom's not even the right way to put it. The middle of the draw. Mm-hmm. The Clippers, the Suns, the Warriors, and the Lakers are all kind of 4 and below, right? Those are all teams that can beat anybody. Those are all teams that... I don't care. Denver and Memphis at the top, Sacramento at the top. Sure, but you're talking about the Warriors with Steph and Clay and Draymond and Wiggins coming back.
It.
Just did it. The Lakers have the greatest player of his generation, if not of all time.
Been there, done it.
The Suns have Kevin Durant and Dennis and Devin Booker, 2 transcendent guys.
Suns have got to the finals.
Right? They're the really scary teams in this. So I would typically agree with what he's saying, which is, hey, listen, the older team and the younger team, and they start slow, and they this, that. Nobody's really very good. Everybody's just kind of pretty good. There's no real heavyweight in this. There's no Milwaukee. And even Boston and Philly feel like they've got some warts on them along the way. There is no, you don't want those guys. Avoid those guys as long as you can. It's all wide open, all the way down to like that 7-2 matchup it feels really wide open.
Let's put it this way. If the NBA was looking for parity, this is as close as you can get to parity in the NBA.
Do you like this? Do you like that it's all kind of, everybody's kind of the same? Because nobody's great, everybody's kind of okay.
Here's what I don't like. I don't like that you have so many teams around 500. That's the thing I don't like. And you want competitive basketball. You want the game to be good. But we're hyping up the Lakers and the Clippers for tonight. They're both 3 games over 500. So it's not like you have two teams that are 50 and 32 and they're 50 and 30. It's not like we're hyping up two teams that have had such an unbelievable regular season. Everybody has been in these cycles, these waves of up, down. 1 step forward, 2 steps back. I like parity. I'm a big fan of it. I'd like to see more teams have a chance to win. But it's not like this is the best product that we're seeing on a night-in, night-out basis.
That's why I don't like it. I want heavyweights. I want a couple of teams with 60 wins. I want a couple of teams that, to know that you beat that team is a real accomplishment.
Not this year, right?
No,
not in the West.
There just isn't one of those teams like, hey, you take them out, you're on to something. It's like, yeah, you could beat them, and they're looking at you like, yeah, I could beat you. Compton next. Josh in Compton. You're on with Trav and Slee. What's up, Josh?
What's up? I just want the Lakers to avoid the play-in tournament and get a 5th or 6th seed because, in order to be the best, you got to beat the best. The Suns, I feel the Lakers have the edge over them because the Suns, they're not really a defensive team, as we all know. It might happen, the superstars, but, LeBron, he has another gear in the playoffs that I feel that we can overcome the Suns or anyone in the first round.
Appreciate you calling in. Yeah, I think I don't want to get too stuck with just saying, hey, everything's on LeBron James because you're going to get into the postseason. They got some other players, which is why all of a sudden we got a little bit more confident about the Lakers. AD, hopefully, with a day in between in each one of these games, is closer to the Anthony Davis that you got back in 2020. Man, let's let these final 3 games play out. Wherever they are, they are. And if they're in, if you said, Al, you could pick anywhere that you want to be right now, just avoid the plane. That's the only thing that I would say. And wherever the cards land from there, I'm okay with.
Justin in North Hollywood. Justin, you're on with Trav and Slee. What's going on?
Yes, hi. How are you doing, guys? Hope everything's well today. I just want the Lakers to avoid the play-in tournament because, like my fellow friend said, Josh from Compton, we're not ducking anyone. We have LeBron, Raymond James. We have Anthony Davis. Back in 2020, we ran through the playoffs. I feel like we could do the same thing this year. We have a healthy squad. We could run through every team. We're not ducking no smoke this year. Lakers, they're going to bring Banner 18 soon to Figueroa. We're going to have a parade in June, and I'd love to see you guys there.
I want to flip. Thank you, Justin. Appreciate it. I want to flip this a little bit. I don't, the Lakers aren't ducking anybody. They've got the best player in who knows how long, and he's been through this a million times. He's not scared of anything. Anthony Davis is playing great, and the Lakers aren't ducking anybody. Flip it on its head. When you look at the other 7 teams that are ultimately going to wind up in the Western Conference playoffs, are they really worried about the Lakers? I know the Lakers have been playing really well. LeBron is back. AD's playing on a high level. They're much better than they were through the first 2/3 of the season. But when, for instance, and Taylor, I'm going to come back to you again as somebody that roots for the Sacramento Kings. When you look at what the Lakers are right now, when you look at how they're playing, when you look at their relative good fortune with health right now, knocking on wood, are they really super scary to you, or do you still look at them like, yeah, they're better than they were, but I'm not terrified at the prospect of playing against that team?
Not to me now. They've been disjointed all year long. I know they have new players now, but they still have a rookie head coach, and I don't know, they don't scare me that way.
Because I wonder
what if most Kings feel? Yeah,
not even Kings, Nuggets, Suns, Warriors, Clippers, whoever they might end up playing. Are they looking at the Lakers as, look, guys, there might be in the play-in. This is a play-in team, or is it? This is not the team that they were all year. The reason they're in the play-in is because of the first 2/3 of the season, not the way that they played over the last few weeks.
If I would have said that you can get the Pelicans in the first round or the Lakers, I'm assuming.
Give me the Pelicans. Yeah,
take the Pelicans.
I mean, LeBron James is still on this team, but we don't know if he still has that gear in the playoffs. If he can just flip it on like he has in the past.
Okay,
he's an older man.
Minnesota in the first round or the Lakers?
Give me Minnesota.
Okay, so now it's where it could get rough. the Warriors or the Lakers?
Lakers.
Okay. And
Yeah.
by the way,
I think it's a coin flip.
I have no problem with that. That's fine. It's these other teams that are kind of similar to the Sacramento Kings, where there's not a lot of playoff experience. You'd rather face a team like that. They don't have a ton of history of success in these past few years. But then if you say, hey, do you want the Warriors or the Lakers? I get it when somebody says, guys, I don't want the Warriors.
Yeah.
Wiggins is going to come back.
especially with
It's
Wiggins
this, it's
coming
that.
back.
It's
I mean-
Steph Curry. It's Draymond. These guys continue to win championships. Steve Kerr has been in these situations before. But you could make a case either way for
They
either
both
one of
have the
those
same
teams.
problems. They both have the same high, which is they've been through this a million times. They both have a player that can beat you by themselves if they get going. And they both have you hold your breath with their health on both of their teams. And they both kind of have an X factor as whether they're going to be up to speed or not.
And they both have been inconsistent all year long.
Let's try another one here. Let's go to David in Los Angeles. David, you're on with Travis Lee. What's up, David?
Hey, how's it going, gentlemen? The team that scares me, honestly, is the Phoenix Suns. And I think with Kevin Durant in Phoenix, it's a real scary look for us and not a good matchup. My question to you guys is this. Would you be okay with the Lakers doing a play-in game if they don't sit all their starters on that last game against Utah, if it ensures a Phoenix-Golden State matchup where, at least one of them are out and they play each other? Even if we have to play that play-in game where we play Memphis, we just avoid those two teams.
So what he's basically saying is final game on Sunday. You don't play any of your guys against the Jazz.
You basically run up the white flag.
Run up the white flag. Jazz beat the Lakers, and the Lakers are the number 7 spot in the Western Conference. Now the Warriors have to play the Suns in the first round. You almost kind of control.
They'd be 4-5 there?
They'd be 4-5.
Okay.
You kind of control, let those two take each other out, and you just stay on the sidelines and get out of the mix. I will tell you, I get the logic of it. I'm still going to go back to this. Give me that 1 week rest. Give me that 1 week rest. Get the 5 or the 6 spot, and let it land where it lands.
If you're going to be a championship team, you're going to have to beat good teams. The second you get cute with if we do this, we don't have to play these, or these guys have to play those guys, it almost always comes around to bite you in the ass. Just play. If you win, if you want to rest them because you want to rest them,
sure,
knock yourselves out. If you want to rest them because you're like, aha, now we're going to take one of these teams out of the mix, now you're in the play-in game, and now weird-ish can happen.
I have no problem watching the Warriors and the Suns in the first round. That's great, but let the Warriors be the 5. Let Lakers be the 6 in that scenario.
More of your phone calls coming up in just a little bit, and the Dodgers discover another way to load up their roster. That's coming up. It's Travis Lee, 710 ESPN.
Is Masters Week, and Al and I are giving you a chance to win the ultimate golf and spa luxury experience to Pacific Palms Resort. Here's how you can win. Caller number 7 wins a $50 gift card to Red Restaurant and qualifies for the grand prize, which is a 2-night stay at Pacific Palms Resort, 2 rounds of golf, 2 spa treatments, and dinner at the Red Restaurant. That's at Pacific Palms Resort, LA's Hilltop Hideaway and #1 work and play resort. Book your next getaway at PacificPalmsResort.com. 877-710-ESPN.
So a taco guy is still the best option, but there was a very close second option this recent weekend on Saturday.
Okay.
So we went over to our friends to watch the San Diego State FAU game. And they're wonderful hosts. They always do a great job of having people over. They have a son that's at San Diego State. So we're all watching the game together. And there wasn't a taco guy, but there was stuff brought in from a taco guy.
Okay.
And all of it was ready to go in the little aluminum little thing.
Containers, yep.
The tortillas, the salsas, the salads, like the beans and the rice. It was just, it's such a wonderful thing. You watch a little basketball, go over there, make a few tacos. Watch a little more basketball, a few more tacos. Throw in a cold beer. It was just a wonderful way to take in the Final Four, and they hit the buzzer beater, and then I had more tacos.
Does that? I mean, talk about how much that changes when the spread is right. When you go somewhere,
so good,
and they nail it like you just mentioned, does that not just change like the whole? It changes the whole atmosphere. It changes the whole mood. When it's like you go somewhere, I'm like, what is this? They don't even have. We're sharing one bag of tortilla chips. I'm
going to be still
full.
In the bag.
I'm going to be full by the time I leave here. Like hitting that the right way is everything when you go somewhere.
There was a charcuterie board there too, so you could throw in a little dried apricot or a strawberry, some grapes if you feel like you're staying healthy. That's two baskets of chips and 3 strawberries.
No, this is what you
fine.
do. Tell me if you're right on this. So I'd go in. Yes, you get your chips, you get your dip, whatever else you're doing, but you go in for the tacos. And after you're done with the tacos, then maybe 30 minutes goes by. You know you're going to go back in.
Sure.
That's when you take a couple dried fruit. You know, you take it in between.
A couple of apricots,
Yeah.
right? Dried cranberries,
Half-time,
cherries.
maybe a little nuts, something like that.
Exactly.
And then you go back in afterwards for the taco.
And this is why we're the food show.
That's right.
Mason and Ireland.
It's important to us. It's important.
Exactly. I also like Backwoods Hatsley.
Yeah, I can really
Was your neck
see
getting
it.
sore? Was the logo kind of pulling you to the side, and now you needed to put it on the other side so your neck wouldn't get wrenched permanently?
Personally, if my team made it to the Final Four, I'd have a bigger logo. I'd have
You
a
look
bigger
a different
one.
guy with the hat backwards.
I rode in my motorcycle today.
No, you're not that guy. Could you write, if somebody said to you, here's a motorcycle, get home, could you do it?
I would walk the motorcycle all the way home.
I don't think I could do it either. I'm like, can I practice for an hour in the parking lot underneath here to just see if I can figure it out?
If you were expecting a different answer,
I
God
wasn't.
bless you. I would have no idea.
If I gave you a motorcycle, could you get home, Taylor?
It would die a few times, but yeah, I could do it.
You could do it. Emily, do you know
I
how to
would
ride
die a
motorcycle?
few times.
No, I couldn't do it.
Don't worry about the motorcycle.
Yeah, I would be taking surface
do a
streets
moped.
for sure. Yeah, well, moped's just gas, right? Like a motorcycle, like a Harley.
You still have to balance on a moped if you,
Well, I
if
can
you
balance
wobble.
the
about
bike.
shifting,
That's not
though.
the hard part.
Shifting.
It's the shifting. And
I
it's
could do
the
a-
going
I could do a
fast
scooter.
and turning. It's a lot going on right there.
on the 110.
It's a lot. I'm going to avoid that. I don't want to do that. Let's go to Ryan in Los Angeles. Ryan, you're on with Trav and Slee. What's up, Ryan?
Hey, good afternoon, guys. So I wanted to talk about the Lakers and how much this season reminds me so much of the 2020 season, where that they had that long rest and how they came back refreshed. And I feel as if the injuries that both LeBron and AD suffered, and now that they're coming back, it could be a blessing in disguise because they now have that rest. And not only that, the role players, I believe, are much better because they are younger and they play a lot of defense. And I feel as if the West is pretty weak. And at first, I was kind of scared because I felt that it was going to be similar to where LeBron and AD came back in that Phoenix series where they tried to give it a go. But I see that now they actually are both healthy, and I feel that they have a much higher chance of making the finals because the West is pretty weak right now. And that's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thanks, Ryan. Appreciate it. So here's why I think there's a difference. Here's why I see where you're going, and the rough outline of it is similar, but I think that there's a major, major, major difference here. The team heading into the bubble was healthy before heading into the bubble. They just got a nice long break to relax and refresh and do all of those things. They weren't just back from injury, right? LeBron is just back from injury. D'Angelo Russell is currently battling some nagging injuries. Anthony Davis is always one slip and fall away from another injury, right? That 2020 championship team caught the break. You know, it's weird to say it like this, the pandemic being a good break, but for them, from just purely a basketball perspective,
it worked to their benefit.
It really did.
Yeah.
And it allowed them to get refreshed and hit the gas for the finish line. This is a team that's got, to use a bad, they got knee braces and wraps on their ankles and all these other things. They are banged up. They're healthier than they've been because they're back, but they just got back. So I think there's a big difference.
So I will, but I get his point about if I told you, hey, the Lakers season, LeBron's going to miss over 4 weeks after the All-Star break. LeBron's going to miss over 4 weeks, yet they're going to still move up in the standings.
Mm-hmm.
But he's going to come back with 8 games left to go.
And he's looked good.
He's going to come back with 8 games left to go and kind of get right and everything else, and the Lakers still have a chance of avoiding the play-in tournament. I think we'd sit here and say, well, what the hell are you talking about? How would that happen? That's kind of what I think the caller is referring to, is they have that benefit that has kind of worked to their advantage, that there are no teams like we were talking about where you're looking at and saying, look, the Lakers can make a run, but when they face this team, it's a wrap, it's over. That doesn't exist in the Western Conference. I think you can make a case for some of that stuff. At the same time, I think there's a lot of teams in the Western Conference kind of selling themselves that, yeah, there is no team that you can call unbeatable in the West.
Denver is the number 1 seed. They won 52 games. It's not very many. For the top seed, that's not a lot.
Phoenix last year was in the 60s.
They were, I want to say, 63 or 4.
Something like that.
That's a ton of wins. 52 and 27 right now. So what's that? I mean, they got 3 games left. That's not a ton. They're going to have it max 55 wins. Probably less than that because that last day they'll probably take it off or whatever. There's nobody going into the Western Conference Finals or the Western Conference playoffs right now that's looking at this thinking, all right, just as long as we don't have to deal with them, or let's postpone the matchup with them as long as possible. All 8 teams that wind up in, whoever those 8 are going to feel like, you know what, we've got a puncher's chance or better going into every single one of these series. I don't know if I've ever seen that in the NBA.
There is, and it's not the top 3 seeds in the Western Conference. I think you look at if 4, 5, 6 end up being Suns, Lakers, and Warriors. Think about that, Trav, for a second. If 4, 5, 6 end up being Suns, Lakers, and Warriors, and I said you could have 4, 5, 6, or 1, 2, 3, most people would take 4, 5, 6.
I'd take 4.
Right?
As far as like trying to predict the champion,
yeah, get any one of these. You want the top 3 or
I'll
the
take
middle
the next
3?
3.
I agree with you.
I'll take the next.
That
3.
plays to kind of the point that you're saying is that not everything was created equal. The Warriors were very up and down all season. They dealt with some injuries, but it's not like the Warriors are going to enter the playoffs and people are going to say, oh, we got them, no problem.
One of those 3 teams could fall into the 7 or 8, and I'd still rather have them than Sacramento or Memphis.
Yeah, the seeding's not going to matter as much. It's almost like the March
or
Madness tournament. Right?
Or at
like
all.
Didn't really mean anything.
Bill in Long Beach. Bill, you're on with Travis Lee.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Bill.
I want to shine a little sunshine on this. Now, just so you know, I'm a Cavs fan, so I kind of follow LeBron through his career.
Mm-hmm.
But the Lakers started 2-10. And since that point, they've gone 39-28, which is a .580 winning percentage. That puts them as like the 4th seed. They're not as bad as their record shows. I have a weird suspicion that they're going to make it pretty deep into the playoffs and surprise everyone.
So, Bill, I think actually,
I
was going to say, I don't think most people are paying attention to their record necessarily. I would not be paying attention to their record if it wasn't for the fact that they could avoid the play-in. That's the only reason why I'm paying attention to the record. I mean, can they get back to 500? We played that game for a while. And
6 months.
Literally. Right? They'd get within 2, and then they'd fall back. And then it was, can they get over 500? They're 3 games over 500 now. I don't really associate the Lakers' record with who they are. They did start out 2-10. But what I would like to see that if they were already locked up the number 6 seed and that was you're already avoiding the play-in tournament, I really wouldn't pay attention to the record. But the only reason why I pay attention to the standings is because I just want them to avoid the play-in.
The dump is coming up next. It's Travis Lee, 710 ESPN.
Is Masters Week, and Al and I are giving you a chance to win the ultimate golf and spa luxury experience to Pacific Palms Resort. Here's how you can win. Caller number 7 wins a $50 gift card to Red Restaurant and qualifies for the grand prize, which is a 2-night stay at Pacific Palms Resort, 2 rounds of golf, 2 spa treatments, and dinner at the Red Restaurant. That's at Pacific Palms Resort, LA's Hilltop Hideaway and #1 work and play resort. Book your next getaway at PacificPalmsResort.com. 877-710-ESPN.
All right, so today is the last day before the Masters tournament starts. They are currently conducting the par 3 contest, which has changed a little bit over the years. It used to be reasonably competitive, and now it's become more of like kind of a family event where guys take their kids and their wives and everything, and it's nice, and everybody's having a good time.
Okay.
However, no one has ever won the par 3 tournament and won the golf tournament in the same year. Okay, you've won one and won the other, but never in the same year. Let's say you are in the mix in the par 3. You're coming down to the last hole or two, and you got a lead. Do you rinse a couple in the pond just to kind of not deal with all those things?
Do you win anything?
You win some. I think it's crystal. Like there's some very pretty things. It's kind of a cool thing to have won.
Get a Macy's gift card.
But do you intentionally throw the par 3 contest out of superstition?
Okay, I got a question right out the gate. What would the golf gods say?
I think they'd say that you can't intentionally hit it in the water because that's
I agree with you.
flaunting them. But
I agree with
maybe you accidentally pull the wrong club.
I think the golf gods are saying if you're going to fall into that world, you don't have faith in us, you don't have trust in us. I'm trying to win the par 3.
But if you try to win the par 3, then you're saying, oh, you think you can get both, do you? It's kind of a catch-22.
I think it depends on what I think my chances are. If I'm just someone who like barely makes it to the Masters tournament.
McIlroy?
Then what do you need to win a par 3? You know, you would rather win the Masters. So I would say, yeah, you sandbag it.
I think I might, like on the last hole, let my kid putt because that automatically disqualifies you from the tournament. I wanted to give my kid a chance to knock this thing in. Married with Children came out on this day in 1987. Sliwa, the floor is yours.
Look, Al Bundy is still one of the greatest and one of the greatest characters in any sitcom. The guy had 4 touchdowns in one game at Polk High. I think we just all should take a moment to appreciate and respect what was accomplished and what Al Bundy did for our generation.
It was genre-breaking, quite frankly. It was totally different than everything else on TV. That not only sitcoms were, but still are, for the few that are remaining, they're super formulaic. They're laugh-tracky, and it's setup joke, and this was different. It was this terrible family that they went out of their way to sabotage one another. They were gross.
Bud always got the short end of the stick.
Right? It was very, very different than everything else that was on TV at the time. It just totally changed the way that they
Jefferson was hilarious.
Jefferson was pretty funny. The Mavs still plan on re-signing, I should say, Kyrie, despite the team's recent struggles. That, according to Chris Haynes. Kyrie, of course, is eligible for an extension, but he's also eligible to hit free agency, and I would imagine Kyrie wouldn't be opposed to seeing what else is out there and seeing what else may come his way because he's been on his best behavior mostly. The team stinks. It's been weird, but not because he's played poorly. Somebody's going to offer him a lot of money.
All right, what's more likely? Is it more likely that the Dallas Mavericks say, Kyrie, we are not going to sign you to a long-term deal, or is it more likely that Kyrie says, guys, I don't want to be in Dallas?
What's the first choice?
That the Mavs sign him to a long-term deal. More likely that the Mavs sign him to a long-term deal, or more likely that Kyrie...
The second thing.
Says thank you, but no thank you.
I still think that the story on Kyrie, somebody's going to offer him a lot of money, but I think it's going to be relatively short-term. The prospects of getting into a long-term relationship / contract situation with Kyrie Irving seems like a dreadful idea for all teams.
Not for the Lakers. But if a team signed Kyrie because they have the cap space and Kyrie's okay with playing there, 2-year deal is probably the right number.
Yeah.
Because if it doesn't work in the first
You're out
year,
of it pretty
then
quick.
you could shop him for the final year.
Yeah, and there will be value there. He's still so good, but he's so toxic, and the names like. You sure you want to do this?
I do want to see them get in the play-in. I'd like to see them get in the play-in. They're a half game right now from 10. Can we just see,
Who
everything?
Do you want out? OKC?
Yeah, take the Thunder out. They're fine. They're building for the future and everything else. Just because let's put it this way. If I told you that the Mavs have a play-in tournament game, you don't even have to be the biggest NBA fan. Wouldn't you just kind of want to see Luka and Kyrie in a big stage and see if
I think they're dangerous. I'd rather have one fewer shark in the tank. Luka and Kyrie can beat you by themselves.
So that gives me even more reason to wanting to have them in it. Because you're not wrong on what you said. What do the Lakers care? They're not going to play them.
What if the Lakers are in the play-in? They absolutely could play them.
If the play-in that's different, I thought you meant like they get in and they're going to face Denver and they're dangerous in that Denver
I'm talking
matchup.
in the play-in. They get in the play-in, the Lakers could absolutely end up playing them. That they could. They win the bottom
we're
half.
okay
the
with going
Lakers
up against the Suns. Let's go up against the Mavs too.
One time is
I know,
different
one game.
than a series. Totally different. The series, the better team usually wins. One night, not the case.
10th spot, they're a half game out of.
Shrek 5 is in the works with the original cast. Emily,
go.
Didn't know about Shrek 3 and 4, but Shrek 1 and 2.
So Shrek 1 and 2 clearly way better than the rest, but if they bring back the original cast, they have an interesting take, and it's so long, and I think they can just kind of take what they had in the first two and recreate the magic, and I'm all in. I will see it.
Shrek, I know I've seen the second one. What's the plot of the second one? I know the first
So
one.
the second one is Shrek and Fiona. Oh, sorry, spoiler. Shrek and Fiona go to far, far away, which is essentially like Hollywood.
Was that the dragon one?
The dragon is still a part of this one, but Julie Andrews plays Fiona's mother. So they go meet Fiona's parents, and Fiona's parents don't really like Shrek. They want her to be with this evil guy, and then there's a fairy godmother who's like evil, and that's kind of the whole thing.
Yeah. Donkey. I don't remember that one. The first one really good. Eddie Murphy amazing. The rest of it, I'm not a huge Mike Myers guy. Yeah.
It's one of the few movies too
I'll be
where
okay to miss it.
where I remember the DVD extras. So when it used to, like as a kid, Shrek 2 wasn't often like a sleepover movie, and so we go through the DVD extras, and they had this far, far away idol, and you can play as all these different characters, and it's honestly so cool.
Idol, like American Idol? Like
Yeah, it was
sing?
like in the height of American Idol, and like Simon Cowell makes an appearance in the
course he
DVD
does.
extras. It was amazing.
That's pretty funny. All right, the fan that ran out onto the field at Dodger Stadium to propose to his now fiance has been banned from Dodger Stadium for 1 year. His fiance said he's banned from Dodger Stadium for a year, but I mean, he'll live, right? Yes, I would imagine that he will live not going to Dodger games for a year, but if proposing at Dodger Stadium was as important as obviously it was to these folks,
It's well worth it then.
Not going would be a big deal, right?
Well, no, I was going to say if
just a year, it's not bad. It's
a
pretty
year
light.
is not bad. And oh, by the way, that doesn't mean you can't go down. You can't go up to San Francisco to go see the Dodgers. Go down to Petco to go see the Dodgers. There's other options out here.
I used to think that these bans were almost impossible to enforce until the Knicks started doing what they're doing with the facial software recognition or facial recognition software, where they're pulling people out and say, not you. What do you mean, not me?
Oh, wow.
You're on the list of, you work for a law firm that's suing MSG, but I'm not on the, you don't come in. Like, that's actually happening. So I don't know if the Dodgers have the technology to do that, but if I just have you buy my ticket, I can walk in.
Yeah, I know.
You can't really
How do you
ban
enforce that?
somebody like that. That's a weird deal. This day in 1987, Wayne Gretzky wins his 7th straight NFL or NHL, not NFL. He wasn't very good in the NFL. The NHL
Awesome
scoring
running
title,
back.
7 in a row, much like Wilt Chamberlain, right? Whenever the question is how, it's
Gretzky.
Wayne Gretzky. It's always Wayne Gretzky. He was Wilt Chamberlain. On
7th
ice.
straight NHL scoring title.
That's a lot.
You are right. If that's the comp of it, I wouldn't know. But every record that's out there, when you say with Wilt, if that's what it is for Gretzky, it's
He's the
incredible.
goat of the goats.
Yeah.
Emily, your girl Taylor Swift is stealing bits from bad movies in The Simpsons, hiding in laundry and janitor carts to get into the arena. That feels like every hack plot point to escape prison that I've ever
Right.
seen.
So there's this thing in the fandom, especially on TikTok going around, where people were seeing the way that she entered the stadium. She entered the stadium through this comically large janitor cart. And Taylor Swift is a very tall woman. I think she's over 6 feet. She's very tall, or nearly 6 feet. And so they were like, of course, you're not just rolling this janitor's thing behind the scene right before Taylor Swift comes on, but they hadn't seen her get out of it until someone posted on TikTok, saw her actually get out of the thing and then walk onto the stage.
Okay,
Her cover is gone.
But she's Taylor Swift. Can't she just get a bunch of goons to escort her wherever she wants to go?
Well, these are the goons that are escorting her, but people don't want to.
Why does she have to be in the cart?
Well, because people don't want to see the outfit, or she doesn't want people to see the outfit before she comes on stage, because it's a surprise
So
every
wear
night.
a jacket.
Well, no, then you see the jacket.
You
You
don't
don't
think you're
see
going to end up
anything.
seeing the
Just
jacket.
give her Slee's
Just a lot of-
Marmot jacket. Have her go there. Give her some breakaway Laker sweats.
I'll give her a robe.
She walks in a robe would be
Get in
fine.
there.
Yeah, you could do that. Doesn't seem like a big deal. Sham says that he averages 17 plus hours a day, or 17 hours a day of screen time. Do you ever look at that number? Does it pop up on Sunday afternoons? Is that when it shows up? It's always depressing, and I always have that moment where I'm like, okay, you got to do something about this.
I don't pay attention to and if I could get away from it, it's great, but I don't pay attention to how long I'm on the screen. But that makes a lot of sense because we've done this before. So we'll get a status report, and let's say the status report says Anthony Davis is available for tonight's game. We get the email, and before I could even do anything with it, Sham's already posted it. That means what's no. We're just saying in general. In general, that's a bad example. I should have used any other player. But I think I think Trav, that shows you that in that specific field, you are married to your phone.
Yeah, no,
married.
I don't care about Shams and his screen time. I care about me and my screen time. Emily, do you look at that number?
I just
Taylor
see when it goes
not
up and
interested
down.
in Sham's screen time.
Because I'm always depressed when I see it. Because you
don't
average
care.
4.5 hours of screen time a day. It's like that's a lot of time staring at
See,
a
I
stupid
do all
little
my
thing in my
time
hand.
on my computer.
So you don't get the notification.
I don't use my like if I looked at my computer screen time, it would be very high. My phone screen time is.
They're like,
is
hey, you're
actually
doing a
very
great
low.
job.
What do you think? I came across this study. What do you think the average number of times, a person looks at their phone in a day? The average American.
Just look at it.
Just look at it. In other words,
I'll throw a number.
Okay.
Easily over 100 times.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I'm going to go higher. I'm going to say 500 times.
Okay.
250.
344.
Yeah.
344 times a day the average person looks at their phone.
It's habit.
It is.
Right? It's just you. Sometimes I pick it up, I open it, and I'm
For
like,
nothing.
I didn't even need
What's
to see
up?
what was
I don't
there.
even
nothing.
need to know. No,
For nothing.
I'm not looking for anything in particular. I just like, I need to know.
Let's do a little super crosstalk.
ESPN AM 710 Los Angeles. KRDC AM 1110 Pasadena, Los Angeles.
K256CX 99.1 FM Pasadena, Los Angeles.
It's the greatest segment in LA sports radio history.
Oh my God. When the shows come together for magic on the radio.
It will only grow stronger. Super Crosstalk.
Are we ready for Mason and Ireland to join Travis and Slee?
Super Crosstalk begins.
Super Crosstalk presented by In-N-Out Burger. In-N-Out. That's what a hamburger is all about.
It's time for Super Crosstalk.
So, how cold was it at Dodger Stadium on Monday night?
Unreal. And windy as hell. I mean,
Yeah.
the wind was
I
blowing
saw the video
out
of the
to
foul
left.
pole
It
kinda
was crazy.
going back
Yeah,
and forth. I don't like
not
that.
only the flag was the foul pole
I don't
itself
like that
was swaying. Yeah, it was really freaking cool. I made it. I saw him bust the game open. I was there. I
Oh, they had
left
a
before the
7-run inning,
6th.
right?
Yeah, I left
Yeah.
before the 6th.
So, it doesn't have, at least I haven't experienced it at Stape or Crypto, because it's usually more of a football stadium
Yes.
thing, but a baseball stadium thing when it gets really loud and you can feel it moving.
Yeah.
I hate that so much. I hate it.
You
so
hate
Really?
much.
when,
It's
you
so
hate
cool.
when you feel
feeling
it.
it move.
Oh no,
It's-
that's awesome.
So I think the
Oh.
Rose Bowl this year at the SC UCLA game, you could feel it moving.
I'm with you
'cause
on that.
everybody
Absolutely.
was
It's not
on-
supposed to
Sliwa
move.
was with us. That I was moving. It was swaying a little bit.
That
So you like
almost
earthquakes?
that almost kind of like it goes into your own veins, like you feel
Yes.
that electricity. Oh, I'm in for
Well,
that.
you know what's weird is tall buildings are built to sway.
I know they are. I understand the
Have you ever been
engineering.
in a tall building when
Swaying?
an earthquake?
My first
hits?
job out of college was down here in downtown in what I don't know what the building's called now. It was the old First Interstate building.
Yes,
At the time,
yes.
it was the second tallest building down there.
Right.
Right.
It's now the tallest building. They put like a
A
stick
flag?
on top of it,
Okay.
and
Is
now
Isn't that
it's
amazing?
the tallest. Yeah.
That counts.
Yeah.
So we were on, I don't know, 60-something floor. It was way up there. And I already have a very unhealthy fear of heights. I don't like ledges. I don't like windows. Like, even up here, I don't like looking out the windows. And we're on the second floor.
Yeah,
it's like,
second
it's not
floor.
a big deal.
Come on, man.
I don't like
Grow
it.
up.
We were up there, 60th floor, and
Yep.
we had and it wasn't a big one.
Yeah.
But it was enough to make the building kind of swing
Oh,
back
yeah,
and forth
yeah,
a little
yeah,
bit.
yeah. No,
The-
That's a little. That's different. That's different.
different than
If
a
I-
stadium
What's the difference?
moving.
Why?
Because the stadium, we know it's not an earthquake. There's no underlying
Yeah, but
earth
it's still
problem.
bending concrete and steel.
If I'm on the
It's not supposed to.
60th something floor and this building is just kind of waving to me, I don't need that.
You know what? There are actually wheels underneath those
I've
buildings.
heard that. Is that true?
Where it sort of
Kind of rocks?
back and forth in order to protect the building. And I used to think earthquakes earthquakes, whatever. Northridge changed my view forever.
Oh, yeah.
That was unbelievably scary.
No, they're all scary.
We got an update.
Yep, little update from Dave McMenamin.
Here we go. Is they playing
Anthony
or they're
Davis
not playing?
and LeBron James are both listed as
questionable.
Yes. Tonight against
Had
the
a feeling.
Clippers, according to the Lakers. D'Angelo Russell is listed as probable, as is Mo Bamba. LeBron, AD expected to be game-time decisions against the Clippers, per the source.
Come on.
Which actually, I will tell you that
sounds like they're going to play.
That gives me more confidence.
Yeah,
that they're
that
gonna
actually game-time decision makes me feel like they're going to play.
First off, Bron has been questionable since he came back in
Every
every
game.
single game.
Every game.
So you could expect that. The Anthony Davis piece of it, there was nothing they said yesterday that would give you just a whole amount of confidence that they are 100%. None of them were saying, guys, it's a big game tomorrow, we're going to play in it. I think less about the Clipper game. I'm not paying as much attention to the Clipper game. We had some people saying you got to send a message to them. They've won 10 in a row against you.
I don't care about sending a message.
I don't care either.
What message are you sending?
I just want to win so you could avoid the play-in and get a week off.
That's all. I mean, they're just another team tonight. They're just another team you got to beat.
They're just another team every night, quite frankly.
Frankly, yeah.
There's nothing special about this. If the Lakers play for championships, they don't play to send messages.
See, I
to
think if
the
they
Clippers.
go 2-1 over the final 3, they're going to be the 6.
I don't think they're going to play tonight.
That's my theory.
I'm glad that you guys think that this means that there's a crack in the doorway for them to end up playing tonight. But let's just go back, whatever it was, 10 days ago, give or take, when they didn't play Anthony Davis against the Rockets on the second.
That
end of
was
that
the worst of the year.
But I think it indicates that this is how they're doing it, right? That we are not going to play him. He's played in back-to-backs once all season long. It's way back in November. That this is how they've decided they're going to manage his health. And there's stakes tonight, just like there were stakes a week or so ago.
Sure.
That I think that this is how they roll, and maybe they don't go. Because if they're going to go, they play.
I'm
I think
leaning
they play.
towards
Why not say
they
it
play.
then?
Well, questionable. I mean, keep them guessing.
They're going to go through, and I think they're going to go through their routine anyways. Maybe if there's anything that makes them think that, you know what, they're not going to go simply because LeBron gave it a go and it's a little bit too sore. I think it gives you an out, right? I think it gives you an out if something were to happen between now and by the time they warm up.
But I get no. I'm going to joke. The Andy joke is I have a sense. they're going to play. No, it's not based on anything. It's just a sense. Like I like when people say I have a sense for something, because when you say I have
somebody told you.
I have a sense. No, actually, I am being told. That's what if you have a source. If you actually have no source whatsoever,
What if I don't want to
you
give my
just
source credit?
I have a sense. I have a sense.
They win tonight. Are they locked in out of the play-in? Are they? If they win
If
tonight,
they win tonight, they're fifth
for good, regardless of
Not
what
for
happens
good.
the last two.
They have to win out. If they win out, they're fifth.
Okay,
To answer your question.
But tonight does not. If they lose tonight, are they locked out of fifth? Can they not get to fifth or sixth? I don't think so.
If they lose tonight,
that's why this does
if they
not
lose
feel-
tonight, they can't. I don't think they could get to fifth because Clippers then have 2 games.
But
or
they can
they're
still
up
get to
1
6,
game
Al?
and a tiebreaker. You can still get to 6 because the Warriors they have the tiebreaker over the
6
Warriors.
is better than 5, right?
6 is better than 5.
6 is better than 5.
But you don't
Agreed.
play the
You don't play
let's
the
try to get this
couldn't
seed
agree
versus
more.
this seed game.
But this is why I keep coming back to the other thing. If they still have a chance at 6, even if they lose tonight, and 6 is better than 5, and even being overly cautious could mean that they're better when you get to Utah and Phoenix to end the line.
Right.
Then why isn't tonight the night you kind of catch your breath?
Here's what my concern is. Phoenix, I assume Durant is going to play in that game because they're trying to meld it together and make it work.
They might not have to unless it's for that reason.
For that reason,
But I
right.
don't think the standings are going to change whether they
Correct.
play on.
So maybe they sit KD, and that's an easier. I think 2-1 they're the 6, 3-0 they're the 5.
So if you go, just so you know, so if they go 2-1, it means you need help because that means the Warriors need to lose a game.
You need help to get to the
to get
6?
to 6.
Okay.
Means the Warriors still need to lose a game.
Maybe John will tell us. John, did you
Oh,
see
he'll know.
the Lakers have Anthony Davis and LeBron listed as questionable for tonight?
This was a very hot topic of conversation on the plane and a huge dispute between Michael Thompson and myself.
Okay. Yeah.
Michael says 100% they are both playing.
Yeah!
I say 50% they don't.
They got to play. Got to play.
I think they play. You don't think they do either? Wow.
This is now you say, hey, medical staff, go pound sand. We got a chance to lock up a spot in the playoff.
You have a chance to rest for a week.
Yeah,
that's really what you're looking for, right? You avoid the play and you sit for 6 days.
John, I kind of where you are. I don't think that they do tonight because their health is more important than time and all these other things. Why do you think that there's at least a 50% chance that they don't?
There's only one thing that matters, and Mason and Michael have fallen into the trap. There's only one thing that matters. Nothing else matters.
Health.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Anthony Davis played 42 minutes last night.
Yeah.
Has not played in a back-to-back since he hurt his foot. To me, it's a no-brainer.
Got to play. Got to play.
That attitude right there, if he goes down, that's it. You're done.
If he goes down, but you get hurt on any play in any game if he goes down.
But if he got hurt tonight, Mace, and you're right? Like just it could get hurt getting out of bed, right? It could happen at any time, at any point. If he got hurt tonight, it would be like, oh, boy.
Yeah.
Because it would be the back-to-back story.
I'd rather be in the playoff than the play-in.
Sure, but if you don't have him, regardless where you're done, you're quick out.
It's over.
If they say, I think we're kind of arguing something different. If the medical staff says, guys, we don't want you to play tonight. AD, we're telling you, do not play tonight because you played 42 yesterday. I think that's a different conversation. If nobody's telling them from a medical staff, look, you're fine, you're cleared. If you want to go tonight, you can. If you want to take it off because you haven't played in back-to-back, I think that's a different conversation.
WWKD, what would Kobe do? What would Kobe do?
Yeah, I mean,
he'd drag his ass out there. He'd play no matter what.
Right.
Anthony Davis is not Kobe Bryant.
Right. No one is.
Yeah, but that attitude is totally. You can have that attitude.
I've always had a trouble with that one because to say be like the reason he was Kobe is because he was like that, and those guys. They're once in a generation, if that.
But if
don't
there's
come
a night
like
to push it, why not tonight? Tonight is the
why,
night.
let me flip that on you. Why tonight?
Better to be in the play off than the play in.
All right,
they got a chance to.
If they win tonight, they're
the
the five.
Right.
So then they open the playoffs against the one team.
Oh, are you going to play that game?
No, I'm just saying. What is the reward for winning tonight?
Well, there's no guarantee they're going to be the five. They still may lose.
No, if they win tonight, they're the five.
Right now,
they would have to. But then they would have to win the
games,
last two.
They'd have to win the last two.
Well, right, and then I think
they may see KD on Friday.
Yeah, but Phoenix. Now think about this, guys. Phoenix has a chance to pick their opponent, and I don't think Phoenix wants to play the Lakers.
That's a dangerous game.
So I think Phoenix beats the Lakers on Friday if they want to play the Clippers.
So I wanted to.
So
I want to put a pin in that, John, because you said something that Slee and I were talking about, and I asked Taylor this because he's a Sacramento Kings fan, and he's kind of outside the Laker bubble, right? When you look at the Lakers and you look at the other 7 playoff teams, whoever they might be, there's no matchup you look and go, oh, man, the Lakers are in trouble right there. You feel like they got a chance against the other 7 teams.
I would pick them against every team but Phoenix.
Okay.
Phoenix is a coin flip.
Okay, so Phoenix is a coin flip.
By the way, they are fully confident they can beat anybody.
Go. Put it the other way. Are the other 7 teams looking at the Lakers going, man, I don't need that?
Oh,
yeah.
Or are they looking at
the Lakers have
including,
officially become the team nobody wants to play.
Including Phoenix. I don't think Phoenix wants to play the
because they're playing really well, because of the experience, all of the above, because for a long their health is still very tenuous, right? That's the thing. To play a bunch of games in a short period of time, even if there are no back-to-backs, that seems to be something that would be disadvantageous to the Lakers. Do they look at them as, I don't need LeBron and AD in my life, full stop?
If you put all those teams on lie detectors and you said, who's the team you don't want to play? I think they all say the Lakers. Because LeBron and AD healthy is trouble. I mean, it just is. They were up 2-1 on Phoenix when AD got hurt the year after they won the title in the bubble. AD gets hurt, goes down the drain. And then last year they were both hurt. Right now they're both healthy. If they're both healthy, who's picking against them? I would pick them if they were the 8 and Denver was the 1. I would take the Lakers.
They even beat Denver before they made.
They beat them twice
before they got good.
Yeah,
when they were still struggling.
And AD is a great matchup for Jokic. So the only thing that matters is getting those guys to the postseason healthy.
Phoenix doesn't give a damn.
I don't.
You're gonna have to face them anytime, right?
Yeah,
So-
I don't think the Lakers care who they play.
But
I really don't.
I'd rather catch them
early,
sooner than later.
I'd rather wait until the Western Conference Finals.
Well, it's good.
I'd rather be on the other side of the bracket and see them in the Western Conference Finals.
Why?
Because they are the toughest out.
Right.
Because that's the. I mean,
But
get
what
to
you're arguing against yourself because if they win tonight, then their playoff opponent would be Phoenix.
No, because they still may lose Friday to Phoenix.
Right,
And
but-
they could want if they. And by the way, Utah pushing the limit last night. That game was much closer than it should have been. Utah wasn't playing anybody, for God's sake. At the last game of the year, who the hell knows?
That could be a dance, that last game of the year, because the ideal position, if you could pick your spot, you want to be the 6.
Right.
And so if the Lakers are in the 5 on Sunday, everybody publicly will say, we're trying to win every game.
Of course.
Yeah, what does it say if you're trying to win every game? And like Utah last night sits Lowry Markkanen, Jordan Clarkson,
Everybody.
Rudy Gay.
Although it
Kessler.
is super
Yeah.
tricky on the last game of the year because everybody plays at exactly the same time, right?
Right.
So you're not going to be able to scoreboard watch and say,
No.
"Oh, they won, they
No,
lost."
but
we
if
gotta
you just
do this.
run out a lineup that virtually gives you no chance from the jump.
Now, let's say the Lakers win tonight, and they're for temporarily they're the 5, and Phoenix is the 4, and they play on Friday night. See, I think then Phoenix plays everybody. They play Durant, they play Booker, they play Chris Paul. Because
they want to beat the Lakers,
and
knock them down to the 6,
and send them to the 6.
Yeah,
which
and the Lakers would
as a
probably
Laker
also
fan,
want that too,
I'm
right.
totally cool with
Yeah,
that.
no, I'm cool with that too. If that's the way they want to roll, cool.
So the reason I say you go to AD and LeBron and say, look, well, I'll give you guys a little background. We got in. We walked off the plane. When I got in my car, it was 2:10.
Okay.
By the time I got home, unpacked everything, my head hit the pillow at like 3:15, and I'm not playing. They are, and AD played 42 minutes.
Side question: did you take the 20 milligrams of THC?
No, because I had to get
20?
up and take my car in, so I
Right.
did 10.
You did 10.
Yeah.
20. That's aggressive.
This is
20,
what
no,
I'm
no.
saying.
Well,
No,
20 is
knocks
20,
them out.
if I don't have to get up the next morning, I take 20.
20 will knock out a steer.
Yeah,
seriously.
I've
A
made
20
I've made the mistake of doing 20 before, and
20's hard, but I mean that's
the Will Ferrell dart in
that
the neck
tells
and
you
old
how
school.
hard it is for John to go to sleep.
Yeah, so I sleep. If I take nothing, I sleep for 3 hours. If I take 10, I sleep for 5 to 6. If I take 20, I sleep for 8.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Nice.
If I
No, I
took-
do. I've been like, tomorrow morning I'm playing golf, so I won't take 20. I take 20 probably twice a week.
If I took 20, I'd wake up Sunday.
But how great would that
Seriously,
be?
it'd be awesome.
It's a lot.
No, you'd miss the weekend.
Super Crosstalks powered by In-N-Out Burger. That's what a hamburger's all about.